Pokémon, the story of Yu. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51. You've always been excellent. Raichu, are you willing to be my Pokémon? Yu looked at Raichu in the courtyard. Raichu's body froze, and he turned to look at Yu in disbelief. You want to conquer me? Yes, I want you to be my partner. Yu squatted down and looked at Raichu. Basic tips for getting along with Pokémon. Squat down, keep the same height as Pokémon, and show your friendliness. From now on, you are my pet, and we will live together in the future. Raichu's mind couldn't help but emerge. The scene when he was just born. She said this to him, so gently. Let me treat her as my parents. Even more gentle than now. But a few minutes ago. Why are you back? My Pokémon only needs the Tyrannosaurus Rex. That look was more terrifying than all the illusions of the dream demon it had seen. Raichu shook his head and continued to walk. What humans say is not worth believing. Then, his nose twitched, smelling the smell of the castle. He planned to go back. Yu's expression was solemn, and it was more difficult than expected. In the animation, Zyozzy picked up the leak several times. Charmander, Flame, and Warmpork. After being abandoned by their owners, Zyozzy said he wanted them, and then they cooperated and looked very harmonious. But the premise is that Zyozzy did a lot for them before they were determined to be abandoned by themselves. Charmander's life was saved by Zyozzy and Zyanogang together. When Flame was treated by Shinji with inhuman training methods, it was Zyozzy who saved it, and it was Zyozzy who sent it to the Pokémon Center for treatment several times. And he and Raichu obviously don't have such a deep bond. However, if he gave up like this, Raichu's second half of life would be half ruined. Even more pitiful than before. At least, he still had hope before. Although that hope was false, being deceived for a lifetime may be better than suffering for a lifetime to some extent. So, Raichu, he wanted it. He followed Raichu all the way, Raichu in front and he in the back. After walking for a day, Raichu was a little hungry and his body was slightly weak. Yu immediately followed from behind, holding Raichu with his hand, and a strong electric current suddenly emerged from Raichu's body and fell on Yu. Raichu's face suddenly changed, and he turned his head subconsciously to look at Yu. The electricity in it was too strong, so strong that it couldn't control it, and it often hurt people unconsciously, so it hid as a Pokémon. It really didn't want to hurt Yu, but maybe it's better this way, then he will leave. Just like the master. Yes, it's really full of electricity. Raichu, you are really excellent. Yu grinned, endured the strong electric current, and smiled at Raichu. Raichu's expression was stunned. This person didn't blame himself. Raichu, the lightning in your body is a gift from nature to you. Don't be afraid, don't escape, accept it, and then you can best control it. Yu's muscles trembled slightly under the electric shock, but he still smiled and said he really wanted to subdue Raichu. So it was completely expected to bear the electric shock of Raichu. Without a ground type body, how dare you say you want to be a trainer of electric type Pokémon? And who has raised an electric type Pokémon and hasn't been electrocuted? Raichu looked at the scene in front of him and couldn't believe it at all. Finally, keep walking. Anyway, it doesn't trust humans. Yu shrugged and smiled indifferently and didn't use 100,000 volts or iron tail directly on him, which means that Raichu is not so repulsive to it. In this case, there is a chance. Just keep pestering. Yu can pester and pester. Whether it is right or wrong to say that a good girl is afraid of a clinging man, Yu doesn't know. But Yu believes that a shameless person is invincible. Walking all the way, finally returned to the castle, and Raichu returned to the previous castle. The dream demon suddenly appeared like a ghost and saw Raichu coming back, laughing. He is back after all. This is home. You can dominate everything in the future. Yu ignored the dream demon and went straight into the castle, watching Raichu enter its own small room. Then he picked up the phone and made a call. Mom, please take care of Lily, and then ask someone to prepare a set of electric Pokémon food and my food. By the way, ask for leave from school for me. I should not go back to class for a long time. Yu said. What's the big deal? I heard that you beat Lumigia. Yu's mother said. She deserves a beating. Yu said. Okay, you make your own decision. I won't ask you the reason. I'll send the things to the location of your phone, right? Yu's mother said. That's right. Yu said. Okay. After Yu's mother said that, she hung up the phone. Yu simply stayed here. At night, 7 or 8 cars came, and a group of people quickly got off the car, cleaned the house, and prepared rich and delicious food. Yu sent the electric Pokémon food to the door of Raichu before preparing to eat. But when he finished eating, the electric Pokémon food placed at the door of Raichu was not touched at all. Yu frowned slightly. When a person is depressed, he has no appetite, so it is normal not to eat. But this behavior is to torture himself. People are iron and food is steel. If you don't eat for a meal, you will be hungry. I want to go in and comfort Raichu, but I feel that I don't seem to have the skills to comfort him, and when a person is upset, it is better to let him be alone at first. If I rush over now, I will be annoying. After thinking for a while, Yu called his aunt. Aunt, it's me, Yu. Yu, why did you think of calling your aunt? If you need help with anything, just tell me. Kyojinayu's voice rang from the other end. It's not a big deal. It's a small matter. Aunt, I remember you know a Pokémon psychologist, right? Yu said. Yes, I know some. They are all specialized in the psychological conditions of Pokémon. Do you need one? Kyojinayu said. Well, if you know one, introduce it to me. Yu told Kyojinayu what happened here. Discarding Pokémon? The last time I saw Lumigia, I felt that she was not right. She actually did such a thing. Come on, Yu, conquer that Raichu. Kyojinayu said angrily. So I hope you can introduce me to a few professional Pokémon psychologists. Yu said. Well, I will send you their contact information as soon as possible. You should learn more and be the one who can solve the knot in Raichu's heart. Think of more ways on your own. Although Pokémon psychologists are relatively professional, there are no two leaves in the world that are exactly the same, and there are no absolutely similar troubles. Analyze specific problems. This is your and Raichu's trouble. Think of more ways on your own. As a mature trainer, you should take the initiative to solve the difficulties. Kyojinayu said. Okay, I will try my best. Yu nodded, hung up the phone with Kyojinayu, and lowered his head to think about the solution. Raichu's current knot is that after evolution, it became fat and ugly, and could not control its lightning power. Lumigia disliked and hated it, thinking that it was not in line with the noble style. So we must work hard to solve this knot. Let it understand that it is not its fault, but Lumigia. In this world, flies bite eggs not because the eggs have seams, but because they are eggs. For the problem of flies, you go to the eggs. It's really nonsense. But such serious preaching and chicken soup are either boring and uninteresting, Qiu doesn't want to listen at all, or they are just a flash in the pan. It is necessary to penetrate people's hearts and influence them subtly. Yu raised his eyebrows slightly and thought of novels. Foreign netizens can quit drugs with this thing, so the influence is definitely great. Finding a few suitable novels should have a great motivational effect. 30 years in the East, 30 years in the West. It is better to bully an old man than to bully a poor young man. Today you abandon me, and tomorrow I will go back with a perfect attitude. Making you out of reach can be inspiring. Today you ignore me, and tomorrow I will make you out of reach. This kind of plot must have market. There should be someone writing about this world. Yu started to check, but before he found it, he stopped again, and found that he had overlooked a major problem. Can Qiu read? It seems that he doesn't know. You can't ask a mouse to read. It's more straightforward. Anime and TV series can always be understood and seen. Moreover, the influence and appeal of animated TV series are stronger than novels. Yu changed an app and continued to search. But after checking a bunch of movies, his brows furrowed again. Such movies were not available on the internet. Are the people in this world so bad? Finally, Yu made a decision and said, forget it. Since he couldn't find it, he could just shoot it himself. After all, he had read countless novels. He even won the first prize for elementary school composition. And if I write it myself, the story will be more targeted. Yu picked up a pen and a notebook, and then prepared to write a simple story outline. It was based on Rumijia's abandonment of Raichu. The background of the story was changed to an ancient princess abandoning the evolved Raichu. The contradictions and conflicts in the story cannot be about strength, otherwise Raichu will not resonate. Rumijia did not abandon Raichu because it was weak, but because it was too strong and discharged from time to time, which did not meet Rumijia's aristocratic norms. That is to say, Lei Qiu was abandoned by a princess of a small country and then was favored by a princess of a big country. The etiquette that the princess of the small country hated was the top etiquette for the princess of the big country. Then Lei Qiu beat the princess of the small country into slag in the arms of the princess of the big country. In the end, the big country destroyed the small country. The etiquette of the big country was advanced, and Lei Qiu became a national treasure. Yu was thoughtful, and then thought about it, and crossed it all out. No, the theme is relatively low, and from a small country to a big country, in essence, it is still the same etiquette, which shows that the princess of the small country is not a big mistake. More importantly, I'm not a princess. This is not conducive to my appearance. The theme needs to be sublimated. Aristocratic etiquette so abandoned Lei Qiu. Yu tapped the table with a pen, thinking for a long time, and suddenly saw a hammer on the side, and his eyes lit up. Let the proletariat simply overthrow the dictatorship of the feudal class. Lei Qiu was abandoned, and then met a boy, and experienced all kinds of things with the boy, and understood the hypocrisy and unreasonableness of these aristocratic etiquette, and learned the greatness of the proletariat. The power of Lei Qiu is a sharp sword, to overthrow the decadent era, and it is a great power. That's it. Yu showed a satisfied expression on his face. The central idea and outline were like this. As for the details and the specific shooting, he would find a professional screenwriter and director to complete them. Then he would shoot it as soon as possible. If he spared no expense, it should be possible in a month. Chapter 52 Raichu watching a movie. Time passed by bit by bit. A month passed quickly. Yu did not return to the Pokémon school. The principal approved his leave very readily, and most of the Pokémon students were glad that he did not come back. Yu stayed in this castle. Flamahorse was also released by Giratina. Because Giratina did not know a few fire tricks. Just Sunny Day and Will-O-the-Wisp. After teaching these two, it was blasted out. Unlike Haunter and Absol. Needless to say, the little ghost-type brother was abused in various ways. I heard from Flamahorse that he was ravaged all day long. He didn't want to live anymore. The other one, because the ghost type was restrained by the dark type, Giratina learned a lot and ravaged it in turn. But Absol seemed very happy. According to Flamahorse's gossip, Absol was so happy watching Haunter being abused that he lost his mind. Watching Haunter being abused every day, he could eat 3 bowls of rice. Yu occasionally ran to the reverse world, and looking at the scene, he couldn't bear to look directly. It was really a sin. Then, I returned to the castle, and ate half a bowl of rice. I was a little happy. Oh, the flaming horse controlled the flames on his body, lying on the sofa, waving his 2 hooves happily, watching the animation on TV. Meng 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 Yeo also cheered and jumped for joy. Originally, it was very repulsive to Yu. But later, it found that after Yu came in, it had special Pokémon food to eat, and there were TV series to watch, and even the cola chips that Raichu didn't eat, it could eat. After that, it thought that Yu had better live here for the rest of his life and not leave. Yu watched TV, went upstairs, and directly pushed open the door of Raichu's room, and saw Raichu, a mouse, cowering and hiding in the shadows. Yu walked over, and picked it up with one hand. Thunder Raichu held his head with both hands to cover his face, and the electric current on his body ran wildly. Yu ignored the electric light in the sky, reached out and knocked on Raichu's head, and just carried him out by force. In the past month, he came here from time to time and gave Raichu a few electric shocks. The electric resistance is full. Can 1 or 2 100,000 volt shocks be called electric shocks? Forcefully carry Raichu to the sofa and watch a movie. Suffering a major blow, the mood needs to be calmed down. A mouse can stay there for a few days. But now that the mood is almost calm, I have to use coercive means. If you don't come out for me. Thunder Raichu looked at Yu with a dissatisfied face. It didn't want to come out, so it wanted to stay, but it was still reluctant to use the most powerful electric shock to attack Yu. Okay, watch the show. Yu pressed the remote control button and the TV started. The story of the adventures of Pikachu is about a Pikachu being ravaged in various ways. First, his parents died, and then his girlfriend died. He finally met a friend, and that friend was a villain, and killed Pikachu's son. In the end, Pikachu worked hard and killed the villain, but it was the only Pikachu left in the world, without relatives or friends. It's just a pure movie of abuse. It was not shot by Yu. I found it on the internet. There is still some time for Yu's movie. We need to keep improving it. The director wants to show it in the cinema. So we found some other movies for Raichu to watch and cultivate his interest step by step. And whether it is bitter or not is a matter of comparison. After watching the lives of more tragic and miserable people, and then looking back at your own life, don't you think that this little thing is also a thing? Once you have seen the sea, you will never be satisfied with the water. Oh Meng Meng Flame Horse and Dream Demon saw the TV show start, and they were happy. These days, they watch movies every day, especially Dream Demon, who is active at night and stays up late every day to watch TV series, and has become addicted. Raichu didn't think it was very good at first, but when he saw his friend's expression, he became more curious and watched the TV series. At the beginning of the movie, a Pikachu was hatched first, and then lived innocently, and played happily in the Pikachu forest. There are parents, relatives, good friends, and a girlfriend. Live happily every day. Raichu's eyes glowed slightly. I used to be like this. The Pikachu here should be better off than me. Then, suddenly one day, something unexpected happened. Disaster struck, and the perennial villain Beedrill appeared. It invaded the place where Pikachu lived, and wanted to dominate the entire forest, and then a war broke out. The Pikachu tribe scattered, Pikachu's parents died, and only it, and its girlfriend escaped. Seeing this, Raichu's expression changed all of a sudden. These Beedrills really deserve a beating. And how could this Pikachu not beat him? He couldn't even protect his parents. The power of 100,000 volts. Raichu began to put himself into the role, with a focused face. Yu's mouth curled up slightly, very satisfied. Just watching the development of the movie, the protagonist Pikachu and his girlfriend, and then on the way to escape, met a Houndoom, and became good friends, and married and had children with his girlfriend. Another happy life. Raichu laughed again, which was not bad. But the smile didn't last long, and Houndoom suddenly broke out, killed Pikachu's girlfriend, and robbed Pikachu's girlfriend of a treasure. Pikachu could only run away with his son. Overnight, his wife was gone, and his brother betrayed him. Later, he realized that Houndoom was his biggest enemy. It was the leader of Beedrill, and wanted to dominate the forest. Pikachu was on the run again. Thunder! The two electric bags on Raichu's cheeks flashed with electricity. Don't stop me, I want to kill that Houndoom. After that, the plot developed rapidly. Pikachu fell off the cliff, got an adventure, and returned to the forest with his son. Kill dogs and birds. Kill all the way. Kill until the sky was dark. Start a shocking battle with Houndoom. Raichu's eyes glowed, staring closely, and he must win. After that, fire and lightning flew together, and Pikachu finally defeated Houndoom, but Houndoom counterattacked before dying, and killed Pikachu's son. Finally, the movie ended. Under the setting sun, a Pikachu stood alone on the cliff. His back was bleak and lonely, and he was indescribably lonely. Raichu's fists bumped together. For the first time in such a long time, he took the initiative to look at Yu, pointed at the movie, and gestured, as if to say, why that Pikachu is so pitiful. Because everyone has their own suffering. This is something that no one can avoid, but we must live on and live better. Like Pikachu, it is much more pitiful than you, but didn't it still live? If life deceives you, don't be sad, don't be upset, face it, because if you don't think about it, it will just pass and you will be sad for a while, but if you keep immersing yourself in it, you will be sad for the rest of your life. Yu said. Raichu lowered his head and thought, it seems to make sense. Compared with that Pikachu, I'm much better, and I have someone to accompany me. He won't steal my things. In addition, strong power is not a disadvantage. If this Pikachu's power is not too weak, it will not be defeated by Houndoom, and his wife, children, and parents will not die. Power is important. But in this way, why was I abandoned? Am I wrong? Chapter 53, the great hero of the time, Raichu. Leikyu stood on the sofa, jumping for joy, and pointing at the TV. I want to watch TV. Yu walked over naturally, and held Leikyu in his arms. It has been half a month since Leikyu watched a movie for the first time. Then it successfully cultivated Leikyu's habit of watching movies. And today, just in time, the movie he invested in was finished. 1.5 months is much longer than he expected. But the director patted his chest and said that the quality is absolutely up to standard. Yu believed him. Flame Horse and Dream Demon appeared at the same time. They have also fallen in love with watching movies recently. A beautiful melody sounded, and the movie started. Leikyu's eyes glowed, and his long tail stretched out, hooked the potato chips in the bag, hooked out the potato chips, and put them in his mouth. Half a month of movies made Leikyu's mood gradually calm down. He felt that he didn't seem so miserable, no longer so cowardly, and then got the bad habit of eating potato chips while watching movies. It's just that there are no hands, so Leikyu relies on his tail. To be honest, Yu was also confused as to how Raichu's tail could do such a complicated action as holding potato chips. But it did it. The movie started with a beautiful castle. Raichu blinked his little eyes. Why did this castle look familiar? Yu smiled. Of course it looked familiar. It was based on the Sasaki family's castle. After that, a princess of the kingdom appeared and teased a Pikachu. She was very happy. One person and one pet attended various parties. Because of Pikachu's cuteness, the princess of the kingdom was very popular and gained glory every time. Pikachu became the star of the kingdom. Raichu saw this scene and scratched his head with his tail. This scene seemed familiar. Then the plot developed. The princess of the kingdom was in danger. Pikachu saved the princess of the kingdom from danger several times. Until one accident, she came into contact with the Thunderstone. Pikachu evolved into Raichu, and the situation took a sudden turn. The princess of the kingdom, who had previously loved Pikachu infinitely, began to hate Raichu, saying that Raichu did not meet the norms of the nobility, had no etiquette, was not worthy of being its Pokémon, and could only be classified as a slave Pokémon, a third-rate Pokémon. When Raichu saw this, his body trembled, and his eyes showed sadness. The things he didn't want to think about in the past half-month came up again. Yu felt the changes in Raichu in his arms, and immediately hugged Raichu tightly to give it warmth. Feeling Yu's body temperature and the strong heartbeat, Raichu's restless mood gradually calmed down, and continued to watch the movie. Looking at Raichu, whose treatment plummeted, I felt the same way. I saw Raichu being exiled from the palace, and falling into the streets with a group of Pokémon that were looked down upon. Miserable, eating leftovers and drinking swill. Until a man, he appeared. He took the initiative to hug Raichu and endured the electric shocks of Raichu again and again. Even though it was very painful every time, he still stubbornly wanted to influence Raichu. As the pictures passed, the man endured countless lightning strikes, fell down again and again, and stood up again and again. Leikyu looked up at Yu. Was he so painful every time he was electrocuted by me? But he still hugged himself. Leikyu rubbed himself in Yu's arms. This feeling seemed really good. Feeling the movement in his arms, Yu's mouth curled up, comfortable. It depends on the development of this story. The male protagonist becomes a civilian leader, rises up, leads a group of civilians in Pokémon, and attacks the country together, encountering countless dangers during the period. It was Leikyu who protected the male protagonist again and again with his own powerful strength, and defeated the enemy again and again. Leikyu's eyes became brighter and brighter. Until the end, the army broke into the palace, arrested all the nobles, and took them to the execution ground for execution. All the etiquette of the nobles, before was reduced to ruins, denounced as feudal backwardness and ignorance. And Leikyu's strength became a powerful proof. In the central square of the newly established country, a statue of Leikyu was erected, which will be passed down through the ages. Raichu suddenly jumped out of Yu's arms, raised his arms high, and posed like the statue in the movie. Can I be a hero? Become a hero with 100,000 volts? You will definitely become a hero. Yu looked at Raichu and said. Raichu waved his little fist. Can I be a hero? But, do you need help? Yu looked straight at Raichu, almost saying to his face, you need my help. Raichu scratched his head with his tail, showing a thoughtful expression, and nodded solemnly after a while. Believe it this time. In the future, I will give you more advice. Yu picked up the Pokeball. Snap! Raichu stretched out his little fist and touched the switch of the Pokeball. A red light flashed, and he went directly into the Pokeball. The Pokeball didn't even shake, but stabilized, indicating that it was successfully captured. Yuyu's mouth corners rose wildly, and he finally succeeded. He worked hard for a month and a half. He is a father and a mother, and also a screenwriter and investor. Is it easy for me? Others capture Pokémon in a simple and rough way, hitting them head on, with cheats. The screenwriter's father, and can be a Superman with one ball, and even Sukune can be captured with one Pokeball. But why is it so difficult for me to capture Pokémon? To capture Absol, I have to act out the scene myself. To capture Raichu, I have upgraded, and I have to act out the scene myself. Life is so difficult. Yu released Raichu from the Pokeball, looked at Raichu and said, Raichu, please give me more advice in the future, and get along well with Flamahorse. Flamahorse, we have another partner. Yu looked at Flamahorse and said, Lilio. Raichu and Flamahorse greeted each other. They have become familiar with each other during this period. Raichu is shy and gentle, and is nice to everyone. Flamahorse is honest and simple, and is called a silly horse by Haunter, so it is naturally easy to get along with. Well, let's work hard together. Yu hugged Qiu tightly, and rubbed his face against Qiu's cheek. It was fluffy, warm, and soft, and comfortable. Qiu was also happy to be held so intimately by Yu, but this joy was accidentally leaked. Yu was suddenly burnt on the outside and tender on the inside by Qiu. After a while, he spit out a mouthful of black smoke and said, Great. Qiu, master your ability well, and fight with me in the future. Qiu, who had hit Yu, because of the accidental leakage, was still a little worried. Seeing the sincere smile on Yuyu's face, he showed a happy smile from the heart. This feeling is really comfortable. I want to be a hero. Okay, wait a minute. Let's go out and practice and see how many tricks you can do. Yu said. Qiu nodded his little head frantically. Okay, it's almost time to go. Come back with me, and I'll set up a private little room for you. Yu said. Meng Yao was anxious when he heard that Yu and the others were leaving. Didn't everyone live well? Why did they leave now? If you leave, who will watch movies for me? Who will feed me potato chips? Who will give me coke? No, how can you take my best friend Raichu away? The dream demon flew to Yu eagerly, shouting anxiously. Chapter 54 Giratina. Why is there no movie about me? Oh, and you. Goodbye. Yu waved at Meng Yao. Meng Yao shook his head wildly. You are wrong. You missed the point. Don't leave. What's that expression on your face? Don't you want us to leave? Yu said. Meng Yao nodded vigorously. Don't you want us to leave? Or are you addicted to eating? Yu looked at the surrounding layout thoughtfully. Meng Yao looked up at the sky at a 45-degree angle. Okay, I understand. Yu nodded. This guy seems to be addicted. After all, lying on the sofa every day watching TV, eating potato chips, fried chicken and cola, and playing video games non-stop. This is the happy life of many otakus. Meng Yao, it's normal to be addicted. It's just that he doesn't have much energy to capture another Meng Yao to train. And Meng Yao's evolved form, Meng Yaomo, is like a wizard, which makes me feel a little bad. As for Pokémon, strength is one thing, but appearance is another. Moreover, he has to prepare for the Quartz Conference, and he doesn't have the energy to capture another ghost attribute to compete with Haunter. Pokémon can't be captured casually. If you capture one, you have to take responsibility. So why not just not capture one? I'll send you to my mum's place. There's food and drink there, and it's more comfortable than being with me. Okay, Yu said. I can't figure it out for now, so I'll send you to my mum's place. Meng Yao is still very cute, and my mom should like it. There are delicious food and drinks. Meng Yao's eyes lit up. Okay, take her away. Yu looked at Meng Yao with contempt in his eyes. Ha, Pokémon, your true nature has been seen through by me. Another Pokémon? Giratina's voice sounded, and then Haunter and Absol were thrown out all at once. Well, Raichu, my new partner, Raichu, these are also our partners, Absol, Raichu, Giratina. Yu said. You should call me adult, but I'm not your Pokémon. Giratina corrected. But you are my friend and partner. Yu said. HMPH. Giratina turned his neck proudly. Since you just captured a new Pokémon, I won't hit you in the face in front of your new Pokémon for the time being. Okay, Giratina, how about watching a movie? Yu said. Boring stuff. Giratina said disdainfully. Oh. Yu didn't force it, and turned around to continue watching the movie. Giratina had an ugly expression. If I'm disdainful, won't you invite me again? Little Yi, you've been too arrogant recently. Unhappy Giratina disappeared directly into a mirror. Okay, I can finally watch a movie. It's been a month and a half since I last played. Haunter floated excitedly beside Yu, skillfully controlling the remote control with telekinesis to watch a movie. Absol lay sideways on the sofa. Huh. Hero Raichu, what movie is it? Why haven't you seen it before? Watch it once. Haunter selected the movie he just watched and played it again. Change it. Yu said. It's boring to watch it again in a short time. After watching it once. Raichu stood up and shouted. I want to watch it. I won't get tired of watching this 100 times. Okay, let's watch it. Yu touched Raichu's cheek and said lovingly. Just think of it as a deeper impression. The movie played for more than an hour. Flame Horse and Dream Demon watched it once, and were not very interested. Absol also seemed to be uninterested in the movie, and lay on the side without saying a word. But Haunter watched it with relish, until it saw the end of the movie. It specially thanked Mr. Kyojin Yu for sponsoring it. Haunter's expression suddenly brightened. Among many Pokémon, Haunter is extremely special. Because it is the only one who has been to school and read books. When Yu was a child, part of his homework was written by Haunter. So Raichu and the others couldn't understand it, but Haunter was different. He stared at Yu with a faint look. I came here first, why don't I have a movie? But it has one when it just arrived. I'm not happy, I'm sad. You big pigtooth, if you don't give me a satisfactory answer, I will run away from home. Yu looked at him dimly. What do you mean? I don't understand. Haunter looked at him with a grudge. I want one too. Raichu, wait a minute. Get to know Absol. Yu put Raichu down, and then pulled Haunter to the bathroom. I want one too. Haunter looked at Yu and said. The situation is different. Yu said. Writing a script is tiring. Okay. What's different? I came here first. Haunter said. But you don't have trauma in your heart. That's a means of healing. Yu said. What do you want to heal? Haunter said. Yu told the story of Raichu from beginning to end. It's so pitiful. Haunter looked stunned. So, I seem to be pretty good. Although Yu sometimes doesn't let me play with my phone, he is still pretty good to me. Yes, do you understand? Yu said. I understand. But I still want it. Haunter said. What do you want? Yu said. I don't have trauma, but I have a good trainer. Why can't I have it? Haunter said proudly. Yu squinted his eyes. Your question is very meaningful. I couldn't answer it for a moment. But if he really gives in, Haunter's conditions will not stop. In addition, it is not the lack of goods that is worrying, but the inequality. There is only one Raichu, which can be said to be a special case and special treatment. But you want two. Do you want Flamahorn and Absol as well? Do you have to make a movie for each one you capture in the future? Do you really want to make a movie? Yu said. Yes, I will do it myself. Haunter said proudly. In this way, I will be a movie star. Okay, when you break the king level, I will shoot it for you. Yu said. No bargaining, otherwise I won't let you play with my phone. Haunter wanted to speak again, but when he heard this, he silently backed off. Forget it, if you are willing to give in. The king level is also easy, it will only take 1 or 2 years. By then, I will also evolve into Jenga, and it should be better to shoot it in the form of Jenga. That's it. Okay, I'm out. Yu said. Haunter turned into smoke, and got into Yu's shadow, ready to leave. But at this moment, in the bathroom, in the big mirror, Giratina's head suddenly appeared. Do you have my movies in your world? Yu turned his head with a stiff neck. What do you want to do? No, don't learn the good, just learn the bad. No, Yu said. Giratina is not very well known in the real world. Even in SYNOPSIS, most people only know Palkia and Dialga, and Giratina. Well, didn't the creator god only create 2? So no one knows. I don't have it. Giratina's eyes changed suddenly. I don't have it, but a large yellow mouse has it. How can it be? Do Dialga and Palkia have it? No. Yu said, except for mythology and archaeology, most people don't know these two, and these two categories won't be filmed. Common star Pokémon in movies. Basically, they are cute. Eevee, Pikachu, Jigglypuff, Gardevoir. So the animation is also of this type. What about Lugia, Ho-Oh, Rayquaza, Groudon, and Kyogre? Rayquaza, Groudon, and Kyogre don't have it, but Lugia and Ho-Oh do. Yu said. Ho-Oh is the guardian god of the Johto region who has passed away, so a group of people are looking forward to it, especially the Bell Tower, which used to worship Ho-Oh, so they filmed an animation with Ho-Oh as the protagonist and praising Ho-Oh. Lugia is similar, but he is still the god who protects the people of the sea. Although he has the dual attributes of psychic and flying, and no water attribute, he is called the god of the sea. People's first reaction, when they hear about the god of the sea is not Kyogre, but Lugia. Because Lugia is really working. So there are similar celebration animations in the Whirlpool Islands and the Orange Islands. So, I don't have it? Giratina looked at Yu with a dangerous light in his eyes. I will immediately have someone shoot an epic masterpiece with you as the protagonist, with big capital and big production. Yu said. Who is the strongest in this movie? Giratina looked at Yu. Of course it's you. Who can beat Dialga and Palkia by yourself? Yu said without hesitation. This is not a problem at all. Because there is only one choice. Otherwise he will really be a ghost. No, maybe he can't even be a ghost, because the one in front of him is the ghost boss. Giratina nodded with satisfaction. Very good. Looking at the disappearing Giratina, Yu looked helpless. Well, I have a side job, a movie investor. Fortunately, I don't have to write the script myself this time. I can just hire someone to write it. And there is no time limit, so I can take my time. To make a movie for Giratina, cost and time are small matters, but it must not be bad. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55. Shocking Raichu. In the early morning, the sun was rising. 1, 2, 1 Yu led Haunter, Famahorn, Absol, and Raichu to run around the entire courtyard in the morning. After running 2 laps, Yu took a deep breath and looked at his 4 Pokémon, saying, there is only half a year left before the Quartz Conference. By then, we will definitely encounter many powerful opponents. So we must be strict with ourselves and train hard. Do you understand? The 4 Pokémon shouted at the same time, making a firm voice. Especially Raichu, who had just joined the team. This was his first time to participate in the morning run, and it was also his first step towards becoming a heroic Raichu. Okay, now, show us your special moves. Haunter, you go first. Yu said. Haunter showed a bad smile on his face, and the corners of his mouth curled up. Yu immediately felt something was wrong, and felt a cold wind behind him. He turned around, and saw a claw extending from his shadow. Shadow sneak attack. Yu looked at Haunter in surprise, stretched out his shadow, and went around to attack the enemy from behind. The attack speed is faster than a flash of lightning. It is impossible to defend against, and it is an advanced trick that is used to attack from behind. And it is a trick that Haunter cannot usually learn. It is not in vain that Giratina ravaged it. Seeing Yu's surprised expression, Haunter laughed triumphantly. Do you have any other tricks? Use them all. Yu said. Haunter stuck out his tongue and licked Yu's face fiercely. Yu shivered and felt weak for no reason. He glared at Haunter and licked him. Haunter continued to use his tricks without caring. Hypnosis, Dream Eating, black eyes, strange light, resentment, curse, shadow sneak, freezing punch, song of destruction, evil wave. Yu was stunned. He went to Giratina for further study. In just 1.5 months, his skills had doubled. Otherwise, I might as well stop being a trainer and learn how to cook well. If I please Giratina, Pokémon will learn skills faster. Shadow Ball. Haunter was ready to use his last trick. He shouted to Yu, showing his presence, and then raised his claws high. Purple-black energy gathered and formed an energy ball with a diameter of 1 meter. Yu's pupils shrank suddenly. Generally speaking, the diameter of a shadow ball is 1 to 2 decimeters. Half a meter was big enough for Haunter before, but now it has expanded to 1 meter. This is incredible. Moreover, you should know that the calculation formula for the sphere is 3/4 of r cubed. In other words, assuming that the energy has not increased, the power of Haunter's shadow ball has increased 8 times. And the energy is naturally impossible not to increase, so the power increases even more. Seeing Yu's stunned look, Haunter was full of pride. I'm awesome. If you win the quartz conference, I'll buy you a mobile phone, Yu said. Haunter's eyes glowed. Practice well, my mobile phone. Next, Flamahorse, Yu said. Flamahorse let out a joyful cry, and flames burst out all over its body. The temperature of the sky suddenly increased, turning into a sunny day, and then a slightly weird flame floated out of its body. Yu nodded slightly. Flamahorse's improvement was the least, and it only learned Sunny Day and Will-O-the-Wisp, including the skills it learned before: Slender Horn, Trampling, Jet Flame, Flame Vortex, Accumulated Flame Attack, High Speed Movement, Flame Wheel, and Impact. There are 10 skills. However, they are mainly fire type, and the advantage against the restraining attribute is not big enough. I have to find a way to let it learn Sunshine Flame. After all, the 3 types of ground, water, and rock that restrain Flamahorse are all restrained by the grass type. However, it is difficult to let Pokémon learn skills that are not of its own type, so I have to think of a way. Next, Absol, Yu said. Absol also proudly stepped out, opened his mouth wide, and burst out orange-yellow beams, and sent a destructive death beam first. Then came the evil wave, split, lightning flash, see-through, air slash, shadow ball, and shadow claw. There were 8 skills in total. Finally, it's you, Raichu. Don't be nervous, relax. I just want to see what level you are at now, Yu said. Thunder Raichu nodded solemnly. The other 3 big brothers in the team seemed to be very powerful and had many skills, unlike it, which only had a few. Taking a deep breath, Raichu cheered himself up, then pounced on Yu and kissed Yu continuously. Yu looked confused, then quickly reacted and said, Angel Kiss. Kissing the enemy like an angel and making the enemy fall into confusion. Making the enemy confused is a good move, but the probability of Angel Kiss triggering confusion in reality is not high. And you can kiss people, so why can't you just give him a 100,000 volt to kill him? Thunder Raichu looked at Yu and seemed dissatisfied. He scratched his head with his tail, then showed a cute expression, and kept rubbing Yu. Being coquettish? Yu was stunned. In theory, it means to gaze at the opponent cutely, so that the opponent will be careless and the power of the opponent's attack will be reduced. A skill that is more useless than Angel's Kiss. If Angel's Kiss is used skillfully, and the energy of the fairy system is mobilized, there is a certain probability of success. Some people have used it in the Understanding League Conference and the Champions League, but the skill of being coquettish has never been used in a formal competition. Seeing that Yu didn't seem very happy, Raichu turned around and shook his tail. Skill 3, shaking the tail, showing weakness to the enemy, making the opponent feel that he is very weak and careless, thus reducing defense. Flamahorse and Absol couldn't bear to watch this and looked at each other. This little sister, the skills she learned are a bit useless. Turning her back to us, she is going to be scolded. Thunder Raichu looked at everyone's reactions and felt a little embarrassed and called a few more times. Yu looked strange. What is this for? Do you want to say something? No, this is a skill, a call. Let the opponent listen to the cute cry so that he will be careless and then reduce the attack power. Angel Kiss. coquettishness, wagging tail, and cry. Thinking of the 4 moves that Raichu is best at, Yu finally understood what it means to make men silent and women cry. Sure enough, pets and fighting Pokémon are completely different. Start from scratch, forget all about Lumiga, and then formulate tactics. At least the electric shock was very strong last time. Practice well, use 100,000 volts first, and then slowly think of ways to use the next volt attack, lightning flash, and iron tail. And the skills of fighting must also be cultivated. Pokémon battles are not turn-based battles after all. You use a skill, and I use a skill. You also need to have basic flat attacks to deal with it. Pikachu is very good at this. Take your time. Although he was feeling complicated, Yu still showed a gentle smile on his face. He touched Raichu and said, "Raichu, you are very good. These skills are all good. You can use them on me alone in the future. Then I will train you in combat skills to fight others." Thunder, seeing the smile on Yu's face, Raichu was certain, and then he thought of the 2 skills he knew, and poked Yu, indicating that he still had skills. "Let me do it." Yu nodded and looked at the power of the last 100,000 volts. "And how about the accuracy? Attack is not just about power. If you can't hit, it's all clouds." Thunder Raichu's face was solemn, and the terrifying electric current completely burst out from his body. With himself as the center, the radius of 10 meters, thunder and lightning were everywhere, and all were electrocuted into scorched earth and kept exploding. Absol and Flame Horse were shocked, and hid behind Haunter. While Haunter cursed, he used telekinesis to form a solid barrier to protect the 2 unpromising little brothers. Yu was stunned. He knew that the electricity in Raichu was very strong. He had experienced it himself. If it wasn't strong, he wouldn't be able to control it. But he didn't know it was so strong. So when they first fought, Raichu didn't use his full strength. He was really kind. Thunder, after Raichu finished, he looked at the land that he had damaged, and Absol and Flame Horse that were scared away by his own electric current. His eyes were uneasy. "What did I do wrong? You won't hate me, right? Raichu, great." Yu encouraged Raichu, this time sincerely. "You are really great. To have this power, you can make up for it if you move slowly and have poor combat awareness. Magician, no need for close combat." Raichu looked at the warm smile on Yu's face and calmed down immediately. "As long as he likes me, it's fine." Very strong. Raichu, try hard. Haunter also floated over to cheer Raichu up, and then the frightened Absol and Flame Horse showed a kind smile to Raichu. Although they were almost hit by Raichu's 100,000 volts, there was only good for them to have a powerful Pokémon in the team. No harm. Raichu looked at the completely different atmosphere with a silly smile on his face. "Okay, what tricks does Raichu have?" "Keep going," Yu said. Raichu nodded, his face solemn. "Everyone likes me. I can't let you down," he shouted, and there was a bang in the sky, followed by a thick thunderbolt, and a bull thick tree in the courtyard was directly blown up. Flame Horse and Absol took a breath. "I thought that this little sister, who had learned those 4 skills, was useless, and I wanted to take care of her. Now I find that this little sister seems to be stronger than them. I'm so panicked. What should I do?" Yu was also stunned. It seems that he really picked up a treasure. Even if the combat awareness is uncertain, he doesn't have any tricks. But with this power, it's enough to be a magician. Then learn to defend. There is also a light wall as a protective shield, which is enough to dominate the whole scene. Chapter 56, Departure for Hanglian Island. Raichu, 100,000 volts. In the manner, lightning illuminated the sky, and terrifying electric currents raged everywhere. The yellow body was bathed in lightning, just like the god of thunder. Bang, 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 several explosions sounded in succession. Several machines around Raichu completely exploded. "Raichu, good job." Yu praised Raichu. "I don't know what opportunity this Raichu has, or whether it is a gifted talent. The energy of lightning is incredibly strong." The machines he prepared for Raichu are all large capacity electrical appliances that can accommodate a large amount of electricity. Even if an ordinary elite electric Pokémon runs out of power, it may not be able to break a machine. However, Raichu broke 3 by himself. Thunder Raichu excitedly ran towards Yu, rubbing his cheek against Yu and sending numbing electric shocks. Yu completely ignored it. After receiving several 100,000 volts, these currents were nothing to him. Thunder seeing Yu's appearance, Raichu became even happier, and therefore it was more adept at controlling the electric current. The time for intimacy is over. No more intimacy. Now we have to enter the next stage of training. Practice the light wall quickly, Lily said while holding a stopwatch. Yu did not go back to school, so Lily naturally did not go back either. First she followed Yu's mother for a while, and then she came to Yu and made a plan to train Pokémon with Yu. She did not dare to touch Pokémon herself, but Lily was very rich in theoretical knowledge. Okay, Raichu, perform well for Lily. If you perform well, maybe Lily will give you a chicken leg tonight, Yu said. Thunder Raichu grinned, waved his little fist, and a transparent block appeared in front of him. Light wall. The game skill is that when using this trick, the special attack power of the opponent's Pokémon is halved. In reality, it is to use superpowers to build a wall in front of you for defense and to resist attacks. As for how strong the attack can be resisted, it depends on the ability of the Pokémon itself. After finishing it quickly, Raichu looked at Yu triumphantly. I'm great. Yu clenched his fist and punched it hard, and the light wall shattered. Yu looked at Raichu with a smile. Raichu's face turned red, lowered his head, and continued to make the light wall. Yu smiled slightly, turned around and saw that Absol and Flame Horse were fighting each other without a trainer. At present, their strength is the closest in the team. So it's okay, just practice by yourself. And Haunter was training the attack power of Shadow Ball, smashing Shadow Ball over and over again, then condensing Shadow Ball, and then throwing it. Strengthening strength is not a matter of one day or one night, it is more like this, simple and boring daily training. It's almost done. Lilia, are you interested in going to the hot springs? Yu said. Hot springs? Are there any good hot springs near Kanto? Lilia's eyes lit up. Yes, Guangdong Hongyan Island. Because of the discovery of open-air hot springs a few years ago, it has become the leading tourist destination in Guangdong. Let's go there to have fun. Yu said. Going to Hongyan Island? Aren't you going back to school? Lily asked in confusion. The principal has already sent me the diploma. Although I can still go to school, theoretically, I have graduated. It doesn't matter whether I go or not. Yu said. You graduated. Lily's expression was stunned, but she still wanted to go to school. In this case, wouldn't she be alone? Although she will only stay in this school for half a year, she will leave in a few months. Yes, of course, it's no problem to accompany you to finish this semester. The principal will also accept me going back to school. Yu said. Then I'm taking up your training time. Lily said embarrassedly, her fair face slightly red. Humans are like Pokémon. They need to relax and need to train intensively. Going to school is also a way to relax, just like we go on vacation, which is also a way to learn. Yu said. A different way to learn about Kanto's Pokémon? Lily said. Not only that, the Alola region is the only place in the world that has not established an alliance and held an alliance conference, so there are no gyms. Do you want to see the gym competition? Yu said. Yes, there is a gym on Hongyan Island? Lily asked. Of course there is. Hongyan Gym, once the #1 gym in Kanto. Yu said. Once, but what about now? Has it declined? Lily said. No, it's closed. Because of the discovery of the open-air hot spring, Hongyan Island's tourism industry has flourished, and no one went to challenge the gym. The gym declined, and the gym trainer Zyabo directly closed it and rebuilt a gym under the volcano, which is only for those who are destined to challenge. Yu said. Then you can definitely challenge it, and you can succeed in the challenge and get the badge. Lily said. This, I'm not sure, it depends on whether he is serious. Yu said. If it is under normal circumstances, only elite level Pokémon are used. Yu is very confident that he can pass it. Now he has 4 elite level ones. Although there is no one who can restrain the fire type, Haunter swept everything. But that was just the normal situation. No one can tell what kind of personality Zyabo has, especially towards himself. Because of gossip, when Zyabo was young, he seemed to have some ideas about his great aunt Kiku. He once had a fight with Professor Oak, who was still a trainer. I don't know what the result was. Anyway, now Professor Oak has grandchildren, and if Zyomao works hard, his great-grandchildren will soon be there, while Kikuko and Zybo are still single at their old age. It is estimated that there is no hope of getting out of singlehood in this life. It is unlikely that there will be a next generation. So Yu is not sure about Zybo's attitude towards himself. However, no matter how well you train, you always need to test it in actual combat. If it is not for the championship, why do athletes train so hard? Training without seeing results will be boring. To increase motivation, either beat others to prove that your strength has increased and practice hard to beat others better in the future, or be beaten by others and fight to get back. So it's good to fight Zybo. I'm happy if I win. After losing, come back and practice with Lily, the grass type gym trainer, to increase your confidence. You won't lose no matter what. Being serious means I'm better than you? Our gym trainer's so strong? Lily's face was full of doubt. Our gym trainer's very strong? Who is stronger, the king of the island or the king of the island? Let's go and have fun first, and see if we can meet a Squirtle. Yu said. If I remember correctly, after Zyozzy left the Crimson Lotus gym, he encountered an island where a Squirtle lived. The leader of that island, Blastoise, didn't know whether it was an accident or he was courting death, but he actually put Jigglypuff into the cannon, and as a result, Jigglypuff couldn't get out, and he couldn't get up, and he slept every day. Finally, the professional Magic King, Pikachu, was invited to give him a 100,000 volt power, and they both woke up. Yu is now missing a main force of the water type, so it's just right to conquer one. There is no need to think about Blastoise. This king of wild tribes is unwilling to be tamed. First, it is responsible for the situation of the entire tribe and cannot leave by itself. It has responsibilities. Second, it is a good boss. Why should it be your younger brother? And if it is really tamed, the safety of the remaining Squirtle cannot be guaranteed. But Squirtle and Squirtle can always try hard. Seriously, find a Squirtle or Squirtle, then beat the other party down, and follow the normal process. As a person with 4.5 Pokémon, Yu suddenly found that he had not tamed any Pokémon through the normal process. For the last of the 6, just follow the normal operation. Chapter 57 Squirtle in danger. The sky is blue, the sea is blue. Lying on the chair, listening to the sound of the sea breeze blowing past my ears, as well as the sound of waves and the cries of long-winged gulls mixed in the sea breeze. Yu had a look of intoxication and enjoyment. Beside him, Raichu, covered with a small quilt, was also lying beside Yu intoxicated, squeezing in Yu's armpit, with a look of happiness on his face. In addition, Absol stood on the deck, predicting the movements around, making sure that there would be no tsunamis or hurricanes nearby, providing verification for the ship's navigation. As for Flammabron, he didn't like the sea, so he stayed in Yu's Pokeball, while Haunter was a ghost in the cabin, happily playing games. Lily held a camera and kept taking pictures of the surrounding scenery with a joyful expression on her face. After taking enough photos, she sat next to Yu and said excitedly, "Kant is also very beautiful, not worse than our Alala. When I go back, I will ask Mamane to sort out the photos for me, or I will bring Shulan here next time. Shulan must like it here." "You are talking about your friends. Do you like it here?" Yu asked. "Yes, it is very similar to our Alala," Lilia said. "Then before you go back, I will take you to Kanto. If you have time, you can also go to the Orange Islands. Or you can invite your friends to come, and I will take them with you," Yu said. "Thank you, Yu." Lilia thanked her. She thought that it would be very tiring to come to Kanto alone, but after meeting Yu, she found that everything was much simpler than she thought. "I should thank you, because I'm also curious about your friends," Yu said. "Especially Shulan, the woman who fished Kaga in the future. Is she really a human? And Mayu? She adopted Azimi in the future and asked Zimi to wash dishes in her restaurant. What kind of people are they?" Got. At this point, Yu looked at Lily deliberately. Lily was not simple either. She also had a Majira who had lost her soul heart at home. Although she could not move, if she got the soul heart, she could also burst out with great combat power. Theoretically, it was also a level 2 legendary beast. To be honest, Yu was really interested in Alala. Zyos he had been traveling for so many years. How many regions had he visited? How many legendary beasts had he met? How many legendary beasts had a full level of favorability towards him? In the end, he had never captured one, but when he arrived in Alala, he had one. Yu really felt that the legendary beasts in that place had no dignity. Then when this semester is over, I'll take you home, Yu, to visit Alala and meet my friends, Shulan, Mao, Mamane, and Kachi. They are all very good people. Kachi is a great trainer who wants to become the king of the island. Shulan wants to meet all the legendary water Pokémon. Mao wants to make the most delicious food. Everything she makes is delicious. Mamane likes electricity and is a great programmer. Lilia excitedly talked about her friends in the Pokémon school. Although everyone has different backgrounds and preferences, they are all good friends. Okay. Yu smiled. He will definitely go to Alala. After all, he still wants Z moves. Then the island tour must be participated. Moreover, Yu has always had an idea in his mind. That is to let a certain red giant Pokémon learn Swallow Return, and then use Z moves to see if it can fly. If it can, he thinks he can get some more things. After all, no one will dislike that they have few thighs to hug. The fire attribute of the original Return, if given to Flame Horse can really take off. Absol suddenly shouted, and the black horns on his head glowed. Is there danger ahead? Yu immediately asked the boat driver to stop. By the way, he did not buy a boat ticket this time to go to Hanglian Island, but his own yacht. The boat driver heard it and immediately stopped the boat. Absol, which side is safe, or do we need to dock immediately? Yu looked at Absol and said. Absol turned his head, looked at the other side, and shouted. Meaning, go there. Okay. Yu fully cooperated. Absol was really authoritative in sensing disasters, and you would not be wrong if you listened to it. Just as he was about to turn around, but before he turned around, a deep and loud roar sounded from the sea level. Kami then, Yu saw a figure coming at a high speed in the distance, where the water and the sky met, riding the wind and waves, and using a terrifying speed to split the water flow in half. It was gone in a flash, but with Yu's amazing eyesight, he still saw a turtle shell and 2 cannon barrels. Blasto eyes. Is the direction where Absol senses danger? Yu raised his eyebrows slightly and looked at Lily. Watch my body. Don't do whatever you want to my body when I'm not here. As he spoke, Yu decisively punched himself. Then his soul left his body, and then he shouted inside. Haunter, come out. There is danger ahead, and it is not convenient for Lily and the others to go. If they encounter danger, accidents are likely to happen, but it is easier for him and Haunter. Generally speaking, things in nature rarely threaten ghosts. Moreover, if it really doesn't work, they can enter the reverse world at any time. This is the sea, and the sea water is considered a mirror, so Yu and Haunter are invincible on the sea. If you can't beat them, just run away. Haunter's dissatisfied voice sounded from inside. He was going to lead the girl through the level, and he called me at this time. No wonder he is single. Yu pulled Haunter and floated over. Followed Blasto eyes closely. Only Lily was left to watch the rest of the Pokémon. Lily watched Yu go away, not too worried. Yu's strength made her trust him. Instead, she looked at Yu's body and smiled sweetly. Don't you want to do whatever you want? Lily stretched out her hand and prepared to pinch Yu's face. Thunder H waved its tail to stop Lily's action. She waved her little hand to block in front of Lily. Her eyes widened. Mine. Shall we go together? Lily suggested. Raichu swept its tail across and then shrank into Yu's arms. Together, it's half for you and half for me. Not together, it's all mine. Yu, of course, didn't know about the fight between Lily and Raichu. Following Blasto eyes, he soon saw a huge whirlpool in front of him. The water Pokémon and the sea were caught in the whirlpool. Ink Seahorse, Horned Goldfish, and the most critical Squirtle and Squirtle were struggling in the huge whirlpool of water. Kami Blasto eyes roared, and a strong white light burst out of its body. With a mighty momentum, it rushed towards the huge vortex in front of it, and crashed into the vortex with overwhelming force. With a bang, a terrifying force burst out, and the entire vortex was blown up. Yu's eyes lit up slightly. The ultimate impact. He really deserves to be the leader of the wild Squirtle group. His strength is really strong. Thinking of it, suddenly saw a lot of small water Pokémon rushing around. The vortex's rotation force is too strong. These small Pokémon can't bear it and fainted. Haunter, take action. Save them all, especially Squirtle and Squirtle. Yu said. Pokémon like Magikarp and Magikarp will generally not be in big trouble, even if they fall into the deep sea after being unconscious. But Squirtle and Cardstottle are different. Although they are also water-type Pokémon, and have strong land combat capabilities, unlike water-type Pokémon such as the Golden Fin, their combat power will at least drop by half when they leave the water. However, because of this, they are not very capable of living in the deep sea. They can go down for a while occasionally, but if they lose consciousness for a long time, they may die. Haunter did not hesitate at this time and acted quickly. Ghost energy surged and rescued a large number of water-type Pokémon. Then Yu hit them on the head one by one, and woke up the turtles one by one on their bald heads. A group of Squirtle and Cardstottle opened their eyes, and looked at the world stupidly. Who hit me? Then before they could react, Yu threw them next to Blastoise. Blastoise looked at Yu and Haunter in confusion. At first, he was curious about what these two unknown creatures were doing. Now there is no need to worry. At least they are not doing bad things. No matter what, saving the turtles is important. They are all my children. Blastoise bravely rescued the turtles, and Yu woke them up one by one. Chapter 58 The Restless Turtle. Kami Blastoise made a thankful sound to Yu. If it weren't for Yu, there would be some accidents with so many disobedient little turtles. It's okay, let's go to a safe place first, Yu said. Kami Blastoise agreed, and swam to an island with a group of Squirtle and Squirtle. Yu looked at Haunter, and a purple-black energy ball condensed in Haunter's hand, and then threw it into the sky, exploding. Absol on the ship immediately understood, and issued an order. After a while, the ship arrived at the island where Blastoise lived. Yu also returned to his body, got up from the chair, relaxed all over, looked at Lily and said, "You didn't do anything to me? It's incredible. Didn't mom teach Lily bad things? Who do you think I am?" Lily looked at Yu with confidence. "If it weren't for Hu, I would be able to put on makeup for you. Auntie said that you look the cutest in women's clothes." Yu looked at Lily deeply, always feeling that something was wrong with you. "Forget it, let's not worry about it for now. The key is to capture Pokémon." Yu turned around and walked towards Blastoise. Seeing the Squirtle all over the ground, he couldn't help but sigh at the magic. Squirtle is not a Pokémon that is everywhere on the street. It is definitely a rare thing. It is docile and has high potential. In addition to the normal breeding base of the Alliance, it is almost impossible to find it in the wild. Unexpectedly, there are so many here. A group of Squirtle did not make any special reaction to the sudden visitors of Yu. They played around by themselves and did not seem to be afraid of humans. I don't know if it is because they have seen many people come, or because the living environment is too comfortable, so they are not afraid of humans. Kami Blastoise's low and dissatisfied voice sounded, pulling Yu back to reality. I saw Blastoise pointing at a group of Squirtle and scolding them. It was the group that Yu rescued just now. Although there is nothing wrong now, Blastoise also tried his best to save them just now, but now that they are rescued, they should be scolded. One by one, the turtle sons are really dishonest. What are they doing outside making trouble? Don't you know it's dangerous outside? A group of Squirtles lowered their heads in shame, full of embarrassment, while the leader, Squirtle, held his head high. Even if he was scolded, he was justified. When Yu saw this scene, the scene of the dean calling students to the corridor and letting them stand in a row to be scolded appeared in his mind. Blastoise was even more furious and quickly scolded wildly and then asked this group of turtles to stand upside down. Yu couldn't help but laugh out loud. The scene of a group of turtles standing upside down in front of him was so funny. Kami the leader Squirtle shouted dissatisfiedly as if he was very dissatisfied with Yu's ridicule. Kami Blastoise roared back, and Squirtle was honest, unwilling to speak, but his eyes were still full of dissatisfaction. Which bastard invented this handstand thing? Don't you know that our hands are about the same length as our heads? Why not just let me use my head to support it? On the one hand, he wanted to retract his head into the shell, but on the other hand, he wouldn't let me retract it completely. Hello, Blastoise. My name is Yu, and I'm a trainer. I came to you to find a Squirtle or Squirtle to be my partner. Yu showed his presence and introduced himself to Blastoise. Hearing Yu's voice, Blastoise turned around and was about to smile. After all, it was Yu who helped him, so he didn't suffer a big loss. But when he heard that it was his turtle son, his expression suddenly changed from the spring breeze of March to the cold wind of December. After all this time, you came to deceive my son? I didn't expect that you, a man with thick eyebrows and big eyes, would be so bad. Blastoise stood in front of all the squirrels and looked at Yu, and he was so victorious. I'm my cub, and none of you are allowed to move. Feeling the sharp difference between Blastoise and Squirtle, Yu's mouth twitched slightly and said, I want to find a partner, to gain honor together, to grow and become stronger together. I believe that not all the Squirtle on this island are content with the status quo, and some of them also want to go out and become stronger. Yu's voice had just fallen, and Blastoise had not responded yet. The Squirtle that was punished to stand upside down suddenly had a bright look in its eyes. Its head and 4 tortoises were all retracted into its shell. The shell rotated, passed under the Blastoise, and came to Yu, eyes shining. I'll go with you. The Blastoise, who had vowed to defend the Squirtle group to death, looked at the Squirtle that suddenly appeared. His expression relaxed, and then kicked the Squirtle on the back, and kicked it towards Yu. You are not allowed to take anything else. They are all my lifeblood, but this is just an exception. Take whatever you want. In the tribe, this turtle is the most noisy, causing trouble every day, taking the little turtle out every day, saying that he is pursuing freedom and strength. It's good to leave. If he leaves, the tribe will be peaceful. Kami was kicked to the ground by Blastoise, but Kami didn't take it seriously. He was afraid and slapped his butt and was about to leave. Wait, have you asked for my opinion? Pokémon and trainers are good partners. They should grow together. They must have a good tacit understanding. It's not that anyone can do. If the partner is not good, there will be more problems in the future. It's better not to capture it in the first place. Yu said. Don't treat me as dead, okay? Not catching Pokémon casually is a responsibility to yourself and Pokémon. I don't want all Pokémon. Moreover, Blastoise, what is your attitude? Why do you look so happy to get rid of the plague god? Kami, you are actually dissatisfied with my turtle son, and you covet other turtle sons? Kami, you don't want me? Are you looking for a fight? Blastoise and Kami stared at Yu at the same time. The attitudes of the rest of Squirtle and Kami also changed suddenly. You look down on our boss? Just telling the truth, is it possible that the trainer who wants to take your child away is irresponsible? Yu looked at Blastoise first, then at Squirtle. I don't know how you live here, but judging from Blastoise's reaction, you are definitely causing trouble here all day, right? If you follow me, you must be controlled by me, and if you become my Pokémon, it will not be so easy to leave again. Think clearly, don't just leave and then find an excuse. Blastoise nodded, and his eyes became kind. From this point of view, this trainer is not bad. Squirtle looked up. It really wanted to find someone who could take it away. As for being obedient and struggling, it was all clouds. It didn't intend to cooperate at all. At worst, it would lose the trainer. Many squirrels on the island came in this way, but this guy seems to be different. After thinking about it, Squirtle looked at Yu and said, Kami, if you beat me, I will be obedient. If you can't beat me, you will be my little brother and play with me. Haunter was responsible for translation on the side. Yu understood, then looked at Squirtle and said, okay, it's a deal. Let me see your talent potential. An uneasy character is a good character for a trainer, because only when you are uneasy can you have a strong fighting spirit. This kind of aggressive, belligerent, and uneasy character can be said to be more important than talent at certain times, and those with this kind of character often have good talent. Chapter 59. Conquering Squirtle. Jenny, Kami, Yu, and Squirtle are fighting, and countless Squirtle are cheering for their boss. Squirtle put his hands on his hips, looking proud. Haunter has a rich expression. This kid needs to be educated to let him know who is the boss of the team. Haunter, you don't need to fight this, just continue playing the game, Yu said. Haunter looked at Yu strangely. Who will win if he doesn't let it go? He looked at Raichu on the side. The attributes are restrained. I understand. Raichu is also full of confidence. It's my turn to make a contribution. Pyro, you come. With a group of Pokémon looking forward to it, Yu threw the Pokéball of Pyro. Haunter, who was about to play the game, looked confused. You don't play by the rules. He has water attributes, and you send fire attributes? Raichu was also a little surprised. Is the fire attribute more beneficial to the water attribute? Raichu, cheer for me, Yu said. Thunder Raichu, who was a little disappointed that he couldn't play, suddenly became energetic. He didn't know where he got 2 small flags and cheered for Yu. Yu smiled slightly. Flame Horse, come on, the opponent is water attribute, it's nothing. Flame Horse shouted, indicating that he was not afraid. He looked down at the opposite Squirtle. Little brother, you want to join the team, right? I'll show you the strength of the seniors. Squirtle, although Flame Horse didn't speak, his talking face exposed everything. He became angry and sprayed a thick column of water at Flame Horse. A fire type dares to be arrogant in front of me? Smash your face. Spray flames. Yu's order sounded immediately. Flame Horse raised his head and sprayed a strong flame. The flames and water guns clashed in the air, cancelling each other out and breeding white mist. Yu nodded slightly. The reason why he used Flame Horse was to train Flame Horse, because he found that Flame Horse, the veteran, seemed to be falling to the back of the team, and secondly, he wanted to test the strength of Squirtle. Flame Horse's strength was just right, and the others were too bullying, especially Raichu. Either they didn't do anything, and were quickly beaten to tears by the opponent, or they used a 100,000 volt to make the opponent cry. And now Squirtle's water gun and jet flame spray are not inferior, which shows that Squirtle's strength is very good. Then there is no need to hold back, take a good look. Flame Horse, charge flame attack, Yu said. Flame Horse's eyes were sharp, and the flames on his body were blazing. He rushed out, and merged with the flames he had just sprayed out. The power of the whole flame increased, and it suddenly knocked away the water column. Squirtle had never thought that there was such an operation. He was at a loss, and was knocked away by Flame Horse, and rolled on the ground for several circles. It's a sunny day, Yu said. The fiery horse neighed, and the originally clear sky became even brighter, with scorching sunlight. The temperature of the flames on the fiery horse also soared rapidly. Squirtle woke up at this time. What happened just now? I was actually knocked down. Charge flame attack. Squirtle was dazed, but Yu would not stop attacking. The fiery horse stepped on the flames and galloped over. Squirtle opened his mouth and prepared to spray water guns, but before he could use it, the fiery horse had already rushed in front of him and hit him hard. The fiery horse, 240 km/h. Once the charged flame attack is used, in addition to attacking, it also has the effect of accelerating. And the world's martial arts, only speed cannot be broken. This sentence is often applicable. The fiery horse hit, and Squirtle was knocked into the sky, but when he was knocked away, the water energy in his mouth was also completely condensed, and suddenly erupted, turning into colorful bubbles, flying out with a strong impact, hitting the eyes of the fiery horse. The fiery horse was caught off guard and his vision was blocked. Yu's eyes lit up. Even though they were hostile, he had to admire the first-rate adaptability of the Squirtle. It could still attack, even when it was attacked, and flew into the air. This was better than most Pokémon. Moreover, it could accurately hit the eyes of the Flame Horse, confusing its vision. It was smart. The Flame Horse's vision was blocked, and it instinctively defended for a while. The Squirtle finally had a chance to calm down. It jumped onto a coconut tree on the side, jumped high, and then fell quickly, with its head glowing. Rocket Head Hammer. Flame Horse, Slender Horns, stand, Yu said. The Flame Horse heard Yu's command and immediately reacted. The right angle of its head emitted a metallic luster. It suddenly jumped up with its front hooves, and its head was pointing to the sky, steadily holding up the Squirtle. The right angles faced the turtle's head, and the sharp points faced the weed spikes. The Squirtle was knocked out and hit the tree, dropping a coconut. Flame Horse, get as angry as possible to deal with that little bit of water vapor, Yu said. The Flame Horse immediately got angry and quickly returned to normal. Okay, the final end, charged flame attack, Yu said. Flame Horse suddenly jumped up and pounced on Squirtle, ready to finish it off. Squirtle quickly lowered his head, quickly dug a hole, and went underground all at once. Digging a hole? That's a really good skill. Yu was slightly surprised. He liked this Squirtle more and more. Flame Horse, hold on, wait for the moment when Squirtle comes out. It is not a ground Pokémon, so it cannot stay under the sand for a long time. And when it is unearthed, unless it has been specially trained, the ground will basically tremble slightly. Yu paid close attention to the ground, and when he saw the sand shaking in the west, he immediately understood and decisively ordered, Flame Horse, west, spray flames. Flame Horse understood, and sprayed raging flames to the west. Just as Yu finished speaking, Squirtle jumped out, was hit by the flame spray by Flame Horse, was knocked away, fell to the ground, turned over, and was upside down, unable to move. Squirtle, I'll give you more advice in the future. Yu walked over, pulled Squirtle back, then picked up the Pokeball, and knocked it on Squirtle's head. A red light flashed, and Squirtle was collected into the Pokeball. The Pokeball flashed a few times and finally stabilized, indicating that it was successfully captured. Then, Yu released Squirtle again, took out the professional Pokémon healing spray, and sprayed it on Squirtle to heal it. Kami feeling the soreness and numbness on his body, Squirtle made a happy sound. If he can't beat it, he'll just accept it. This trainer looks pretty good. That fire Pokémon is pretty good. The key is that he can go out. Staying on an island all the time is so boring. When you are young, if you don't take risks and stay in one place, what's the difference between this and a dead turtle? What if you get old and can't move? Kami, take this kid away, go out, and don't come back if you don't have anything to do. Blastoise walked to Yu and said, don't worry, I will take good care of Squirtle and bring him back to see you in the future. Maybe he will evolve into Blastoise by then. Yu promised Blastoise solemnly. Although he didn't understand, this was probably what he meant. Blastoise looked at this human. Sure enough, creatures with short lives didn't look very smart. Forget it, just leave it to this human for the time being. Save 100 years of trouble. We can talk about things after 100 years. By then, maybe it will be mature. Chapter 60 Red Lotus Island. Is this the Red Lotus Island? It's really beautiful. Just after getting off the boat, Lily looked curiously at the beautiful scenery around the Red Lotus Island and the lively stalls. Play more if you like. Anyway, we have plenty of time, Yu said. He was not in a hurry at all. Anyway, whether they fight or not, the gym is there and will not leave. He also has no shortage of time. He has already obtained the admission ticket for the Alliance Quartz Conference. No, let's go to the gym first, Lily said. Although she wanted to go shopping, she still felt that Yuyu's business was more important. Anyway, these things would not leave here. Well, it's the same if we go shopping after the fight. Yuyu smiled, picked up the map, and looked for the Red Lotus Gym. Going straight up, walking up to the top of the mountain, a hotel appeared in front of Yuyu and Lily. Yuyu, are you not in the wrong place? This is not a gym? Lily looked at the hotel and said curiously. Yes, this is the gym, or the upper part of the gym. Right, Senior Zybo. Yuyu shouted loudly inside. Young man, who are you calling? Are you looking for that handsome, suave, and charming gym trainer, Zybo? He's not here. As soon as Yuyu finished speaking, an old man with blonde hair came out and said, Zybo, not here? Yuyu looked at the old man with a smile. He was so bragging, he was really thick-skinned. Yes, Zybo is not here. Since the open-air hot spring was discovered on Hanglian Island, no challengers have come here to challenge. Those who come here are tourists. The Hanglian gym is deserted, the old man said with a heavy face. Isn't that a good thing for you, old man? With more tourists, your business will be good. Lilia said naively. That's right. The old man seemed to react suddenly and nodded with a smile. Senior, you'd better stop joking, right? My name is Yu, and I'm here to challenge the gym. Yu couldn't bear it anymore and said, Yu? The old man raised his eyebrows. The one from Kikuko's house? That's right. Yu said. Oh. The old man nodded. Come with me. Yu had a bad feeling, but he followed Zybo. They walked all the way to the open-air hot spring. What are you doing here? Lily asked curiously. Didn't you say you were going to fight in the gym? Are you going to fight here? Zybo walked to the side calmly, pressed a switch, and saw the tap of the water go down, and then the stone wall opened with a bang, revealing a tunnel. Then Zybo walked in first. Follow up, Yu said, and followed closely. As they went down, the temperature gradually rose. Later, it was like being in a big furnace. Lily began to sweat, and her face was flushed, which was very cute. Or, don't go. Yu looked at Lily and said that the battle between the challenger and the gym trainer was unfair to the gym trainer. During the battle, the gym trainer had no right to change Pokémon. Only the challenger had the right to change Pokémon. At the same time, the gym trainer released the Pokémon first, the challenger released it later, and then attacked first. The only privilege of a gym trainer is that he can decide the competition venue and create a venue suitable for his Pokémon to perform. Zybo is even more special. Because he is a retired king, he has great authority. He simply placed the competition venue on the volcanic magma, so the heat is extremely high. It's like a big melting pot. No, I can do it. Lilia waved her fist, indicating that she can persist. Yu knew that Lilia was very strong, so she didn't say much. She walked straight over and watched Zybo open the door. The rock wall was red, endless heat was rising, the magma was bubbling, and the training ground fixed by 4 iron chains above the magma was even redder and hotter. Young man, when I ask you something, you don't know it, just say it casually, but you don't dare to say it when you know it. Zybo looked at Yu and said, is it the wig on your head? Yu said. Zybo's little hobby is to let others guess riddles. As expected of her offspring, it's so unlovable. Zybo took off the golden wig on his head, revealing grey hair and a head that was empty in the middle. Bald. This is what Zybo really looks like. He is known as the Flame Bald King. It is said that in his early years, he had average strength and talent, until one day, when he was adventuring in the jungle, his hair was burned off by a caterpie, and it never grew back. It was like his fate had changed. He became bald, but also stronger. Come on, boy. Let's have a battle of fire. Zybo threw the Pokeball, and a beige fox appeared in the field, with 9 unique tails stretched out, emitting scorching firepower. This is the 9-tailed fox of Kanto, a different 9-tailed fox from Alala. It has the attribute of fire. It is said that the 9 tails contain mysterious power, symbolizing immortality, and can live for 1,000 years, and have powerful superpowers and tricks. Lilia excitedly took a photo of Zybo's 9-tailed fox. Little girl, do you know a lot? Zybo glanced at Lily, then looked at Yu and said, young man, the Red Lotus gym battle, 3-on-3, where is your Pokémon? Yu did not respond immediately, but felt the sunlight first and smiled. Ninetale has 2 characteristics. One is to attract fire, absorb flames to strengthen itself, just like Flame Horse, and the other is sunlight, which makes the weather sunny. Now it seems that it is the sunlight. Flame Horse, go ahead, let's see whose flame is stronger. Yu smiled and threw the Pokeball. If it is not a special move to attract fire, Flame Horse can go up. And this competition venue is so hot that ordinary Pokémon can't fight here. Flame Horse is the most suitable. Not to mention that Flame Horse also has the characteristic of attracting fire. Facing fire attribute Pokémon, the winning rate is half as high. Flame Horse, young man, you go first. Zybo raised the small glasses on the bridge of his nose. He is an expert in Kanto fire Pokémon. Flame Horse, he naturally has it, and it has reached the level of the king. Okay, Blaze Horse, sunny day, Yu said. Blaze Horse raised his head and shouted, and the sun suddenly became even hotter. Enhance the power of the fire trick. Zybo was thoughtful. Both sides were fire Pokémon, and the effect of this trick was the same. Generally speaking, no one would take the initiative to use this trick. wasting time, not to mention that Ninetales had already made the weather sunny, unless Ninetales, flame vortex. Zybo said. Ninetales took a breath, and the hot breath rolled out of its mouth. The terrifying firestorm broke out and wrapped around Blaze Horse's whole body in the blink of an eye. Okay, Blaze Horse, charge up the flame attack, rush over, Yu said excitedly. Blaze Horse's eyes were sharp, and his whole body was blazing, but he didn't seem to be uncomfortable at all. Instead, he accelerated his running, galloped past, and came to Ninetales in the blink of an eye, and violently hit Ninetales. As expected, it's the fire-inducing property. Zybo's eyes showed a shrewd light. As an expert on Blaze Horse, he naturally knew the characteristics of Blaze Horse. After all, the characteristic of attracting fire is stronger than the restraining attributes such as water when facing fire attribute Pokémon. However, after discovering this, Zybo did not show a panic expression on his face, but a smile. He watched the power of the flame horse increase after getting the flame of the nine-tailed fox, and it violently hit the nine-tailed fox, about to knock it away. Then, Zybo decisively ordered, "Seal." The nine-tailed fox was knocked away by the flame horse, but at the moment of being knocked away, it was the moment when they were closest to each other. The two sides were almost face to face. The nine-tailed fox stared at the flame horse with wide eyes, and a mysterious power emanated from the nine tails, and then from the eyes, hitting the flame horse. Not good. Yuyu's face suddenly turned pale when he heard the order. Seal. So that the opponent cannot use the trick, 0 damage, and as long as you are prepared, you can also dodge it. But if you are hit, it's really over. They are all fire-type Pokémon, and Ninetales has been trained by Zybo for a longer time, so Ninetales should know all the fire-type moves of the Flame Horse Club. Therefore, the fire-inducing characteristic is directly scrapped, because you will not be able to use fire-type moves. Chapter 61 What is the King of Heaven? Ninetales, use the Flame Vortex again. Zybo said. Ninetales was knocked away, and used the force to jump to the rock wall on the side, and then use the force to come back, and at the same time, a strong flame erupted from its mouth, spraying towards the flame horse. Slender horns. Yu said. If the flame type special moves cannot be used, high speed movement certainly cannot be used. Ninetales can also use it, so Yu can be sure that the special move that Ninetales can't use is the slender horns. Because Ninetales has no horns, Flame Horse let out a long howl, and the single horn on its head exuded a metallic luster. It attacked Ninetales fiercely, and hit Ninetales like teleporting. Although it can't use high speed movement, Flame Horse's normal speed will not be affected, and its speed of 240 km per hour is a speed that normal Pokémon can't reach even with high speed movement. Iron-tail. Zybo's command sounded. Ninetales swung its nine tails at the same time, hitting Flame Horse violently, knocking Flame Horse down from a high altitude, and falling heavily to the ground. Yu frowned. Zybo still abided by the rules. This nine-tailed fox was only at the level of a high-level elite, not even a qua-seeking. The attack power of one tail was about the same as the power of the slender horn of the Flame Horse, but the Flame Horse only had one horn, while the nine-tailed fox had 9 tails. 1 vs 9. Can't beat it. This is also a real battle, which is very different from the game scene. Why did Zimmer choose the monster as the main force? In addition to the fact that the monster is the top existence among the fighting Pokémon, the most important thing is that the monster has 4 hands. 1 hand Thunder Fist, 1 hand Freezing Fist, 1 hand Flame Fist, and 1 hand Split. With 4 hands together, in close combat, almost no one can be the opponent of the monster. When they fought with Zibber, they never dared to get close. He didn't expect that one day he would be bullied by Ninetales. Nine-tailed fox, Iron-tail. Zybo said. The 9 tails of the nine-tailed fox continued to attack the Flame Horse fiercely. Flame Horse, get out of the way, Yu said. The 9 tails of nine-tailed fox are too powerful. Even though each attack will be halved, the change in quantity will lead to a qualitative change. You can't fight head-on. Be cowardly for a while. Nine-tailed fox is not as fast as Flame Horse, and the seal of Flame Horse is not eternal. It is only for a period of time. Once you get through it, it will be your turn. Flame Horse, hold on, Yu said. Flame Horse shouted loudly in response. He was not afraid, because Nine-Tailed Fox could not run as fast as it. As long as he held on, he could win. Nine-Tailed Fox, Flame Vortex. Zybo did not chase him. I don't know if it was because he couldn't catch up or for some other reason. He only used Flame Vortex, a fire type special move for long range attack. It also made Flame Horse unable to dodge because the competition venue was only this big. Flame Horse could not dodge. However, with the characteristic of ignition, Flame Vortex is ineffective against Flame Horse. Wait, is there no upper limit to the ignition characteristic? Yu's pupils shrank. There is no such thing as an upper limit in this world. If the power is strong enough, the electric system can also help you drill through the ground system. Pyro, come back. Yu picked up the Pokeball and immediately wanted to take it back. Finally found it, but it's too late. Zybo sneered. Ninetales, Purgatory. Ninetales' eyes widened, Ninetales trembled, and red flames suddenly burst out, then trapped Pyro like a cage, and the Pokeball could not recall it. Yu frowned. The Pokeball could not take back Pokémon 100%. After all, Pokémon absorption is also a kind of energy. As long as it is energy, it can be isolated, and now it is out of his control. Then, he saw Pyro being attacked by flames. The power inside burst out, let out a painful scream, and then fell down heavily, revealing a pair of circular eyes. You are a student of Pokémon school, right? Remember, those things in the book are all dead basics, and the uncommon ones are often not written in the book. If you learn everything in the book and have a good Pokémon, you can almost become an elite trainer, but if you take it as a criterion, you will only be an elite trainer for the rest of your life. Zybo looked at Yu seriously and said, so you abandon the books and become a king? Yu said, Pokémon strength is divided into elite, quasi-king, and king. But there is no such division for trainers. Elites go directly to king, but there are candidates for king, such as Aju and Kyanli in the future. It is when you have enough understanding, sublimate, and then complete a basic condition. As for really becoming a king, there are other things. Boy, you are not beautiful, but you have beautiful dreams. Zybo said unhappily. Senior, you can question my level as a trainer, but you can't question my appearance. Yu said, the level of a trainer is temporary, but the appearance is lifelong. Plastic surgery has risks. What if it is disfigured? There is no such thing as appearance in your family, and the eyesight is not good. Zybo said. Yu ignored this disrespectful guy and thought about the battle just now. Characteristics. The innate talent of Pokémon can be said to be the most fundamental skill. But unlike the game, not all Pokémon can have characteristics. Not all Pokémon can stimulate characteristics. Like Hone, when Zyos' forest lizard fought against Kyanli's leave-taking king, and finally the lush characteristic exploded, a group of people were shocked. And the sunshine characteristic of the Ninetale just now can make the sky clear for a short time. This is not something that every Ninetale can do. Basically, it has to reach adult form to change the weather. In this case, why is it special to start a fire? Using the sword in martial arts novels as an analogy, elite trainers play tactics and study characteristics, which is a trick. The king has no tricks. There is nothing that cannot be overturned, including characteristics, tricks, and attributes. Gently exhaling a breath of turbid air, Yu took back the flaming horse, and then took out the Pokeball. Raichu, come on. A red light flashed, and a fat Raichu appeared on the field. Thunder, however, as soon as it appeared, Raichu felt the heat under his feet and shouted, Raichu, light wall on the ground. Yu said. Raichu immediately understood, made a glass on the ground, and stood on the glass to temporarily isolate the temperature. A Pokémon with non-fire attributes? Then it is even more no match for the Ninetale. Ninetale, Flame Vortex. Zybo shouted. The nine-tailed fox immediately opened its mouth, and spewed out a strong flame. A huge firestorm came. Thunder, Yu said. Thunder, Raichu shouted loudly, his whole body flashing with lightning, and a thick and powerful electric current burst out from his body, and then it slashed violently, exploding with flames, and falling on the nine-tailed fox. The nine-tailed fox's hair stood up, with a look of horror on his face. 100,000 volts. Raichu's eyes widened, lightning flashed, ravaging the entire venue, and fell on the nine-tailed fox. The nine-tailed fox flew into the sky in 1 second, and then showed circular eyes in the next second, and lay on the ground. The nine-tailed fox has lost its ability to fight. Yu pronounced decisively. How did you train this Raichu? How can there be such a strong current? Zybo looked at Yu in surprise. Don't forget that the effect of the sunny day is still there, and the power of the nine-tailed fox's flame vortex is added. Even if the nine-tailed fox consumed a lot of physical strength and used too many flame vortices in the process of fighting with the flame horse just now. But it shouldn't be so easy to be defeated, right? Because she is my Raichu, the best Raichu. Yu said. Raichu waved her fists excitedly. She won as soon as she appeared, which greatly boosted her confidence. Then, let me show you the hottest temperature of the magma in the magma. Zybo shouted, Duck-billed Charmander. As soon as the words fell, the magma under the ring rolled, and a monster with red colors emerged directly from the magma, with blazing flames all over its body and a strong flame burning at the end of its tail. Yu frowned slightly. Duck-billed Charmander, the strongest among the fire Pokémon, with a body temperature of up to 1200 degrees Celsius, is basically immune to most flames, because most flames are not as high as its normal body temperature, and it is the strongest under Zybo's team of the king. It is definitely not easy to deal with. What's more troublesome is that generally speaking, in a battle, the weak first, and then the strong. The second one is the strongest under the king. Then what will the third one be? Yu raised his eyebrows, with a faint ominous omen. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62 Zybo's Power. Raichu, 100,000 volts. Yu shouted. No matter what happens next, we have to win first. A 100,000 volt shot. Respect first. The strong current raged throughout the field. Duck-billed fire dragon. Big word explosion. Zybo shouted with full energy. The duck-billed fire dragon roared, and a large word-shaped flame erupted from the end, fiercely fighting with thunder and lightning. The flames and lightning intersected together, causing a violent explosion and a large amount of smoke. Raichu, light wall. Duck-billed fire dragon, flame fist. The two orders sounded almost at the same time. The duck-billed fire dragon rushed directly into the smoke and punched it violently, with flames blazing. Then, the sound of something breaking sounded, and Raichu fell out of the smoke, with a black belly, and burned by the flames. Thunder Raichu showed a painful expression on his face. This was his first battle in his life, and he found it so painful to be hit by someone for the first time. It was completely inconsistent with the scene in the animation, where he was hit by a punch and exploded immediately. Raichu, this is a battle. Absol and the others are reluctant to use their full strength when fighting you, but it's different for other Pokémon. Do you want to be a hero? Yu said. Thunder Raichu nodded firmly. Of course, I want to be a hero with Yu. Then come on, 100,000 volts. Thunder Raichu's body shook, and a terrifying electric current burst out from his body, like a thunder of destruction. Duck-billed Charmeleon, big word explosion. Duck-billed Charmeleon opened its mouth wide, and another big word-shaped flame flew over, colliding violently with the lightning, and a large cloud of smoke burst out. Flame fist. Duck-billed Charmeleon rushed into the smoke again. At the same time, it was no longer the light wall that sounded, but 100,000 volts. The attack just now proved that Raichu's light wall could not stop it, so don't struggle. Injury for injury. Don't even think about having an easy time. The terrifying electric light burst out, and Raichu's electric current pounced on Duck-billed Charmeleon like a beast. Duck-billed Charmeleon let out a painful cry, and the opposite Raichu was beaten away again. Yu reached out and hugged Raichu in his arms. He took a step back due to the recoil before stopping. Raichu looked at Yu embarrassedly. Sorry, I lost the fight. It's okay, you've been great. Let the seniors go next. Yu looked at Haunter on the side. Little sister, sit down for a while. Let me get back the face for you. Haunter said to Raichu. Raichu nodded. Big brother, it's up to you. Haunter floated out quietly. Haunter? Finally sent out the ace, but it's not Jenga. You dare to come to fight me? Don't you take me too seriously. Zybo looked at Yu and said, if you underestimate my Haunter, you will pay a heavy price. Yu said, you have to have the ability to brag, otherwise you will only make people laugh. Just like your HU, it is powerful, which proves that you have trained well, but its close combat ability is extremely fragile, and its combat quality is incredibly poor. How did you train it? The weakness is so obvious. Once you fight, if someone catches your weakness, you will fail. Do you think you are too strong and need to be defeated? Or do you think others are fools? Zybo scolded sternly. The 100,000 volts of rage just now scared him a lot. He thought it was a fierce battle, but he didn't expect that he would be vulnerable in close combat. Because I have only subdued Raichu for less than a month, I haven't had time to train these. I will make up for it later. Moreover, Raichu has sufficient lightning energy, which is suitable for being a mage. Learning to defend can also make up for the shortcomings. Yu said. That is to say, the power of lightning is not trained by you. No wonder. Zybo said. Raichu shouted angrily at Zybo in Yu's arms. Don't say bad things about AE. Bonds are okay, and they are the only good thing about it, but if you only have this much strength, don't even think about being a trainer. Zybo said. In that case, let's continue the battle, and see how strong the senior is. Yu said. Okay, you go first. Zybo said. Well, Haunter, the most powerful Shadow Ball, Nuclear War. Yu said. Haunter understood immediately, and a ferocious smile appeared on his face. He raised his hands high, and the ghost energy continued to gather, revealing a terrifying might. Zybo's calm expression suddenly changed. What kind of Shadow Ball is this? This Haunter can't be viewed according to common sense. Duck-billed Charmeleon. Big word explosion. This momentum must be cut off. Feeling the huge pressure, the hot power in the mouth of the duck-billed Charmeleon condensed, and a large word-shaped flame began to condense. But before it could be released, the huge Shadow Ball in Haunter's hand had already condensed successfully, and then it was thrown down fiercely. Boom, there was a loud noise. The world is nuclear war. After the smoke cleared, Charmeleon lay on the field with its forelegs up in the air, revealing a pair of big circular eyes. One knockdown. Are all your Pokémon like this, only pursuing violent attacks? Zybo looked at Yu and said, Raichu's 100,000 volts of destruction. Haunter's Shadow Ball was stronger than a missile. No, I cultivate all kinds of Pokémon. Besides, I'm from the Kyojin family. Yu said. So you are reminding me that you are also good at the Kyojin family's usual insidious style. Zybo said. You can only know these after fighting. Fighting is the best way to understand a person. Although I don't completely agree with this statement, it's almost the same. Yu said. Okay, wind speed dog, come out. Zybo roared at the sky. Not long after, a loud barking sound like a lion's roar sounded, and a residual shadow passed by. A spirited and extraordinary divine dog ran between the rock walls and jumped on the ring. It was nearly 2 meters tall and 3 meters long. It's better to say it's a tiger than a dog. Windy Dog, the evolution of Kanto's official police dog, Growlithe, with a racial value of 555. It was once listed as a legendary Pokémon. The key is that it is very strong. Zybo's strongest Pokémon, the Top King. Under the gaze of Windy Dog, Yu swallowed his saliva and then looked at Zybo. Can't you afford to play? I know that you don't have much shame, or rather, the old generation of kings, who have lived to this age, have few shame in private, but I didn't expect you to be so shameless. You use the ace main force for me, who just got Pokémon for a year. Go on, you attack first. Zybo looked at Yu and said. Haunter, invisibility, resentment. Yu said. There are many negative curses of the ghost type. If Zybo is careless, maybe he can cast a few curses and delay it. Haunter immediately hid his body and disappeared, and then the ghost energy hit Windy Dog. Windy Dog, sparks. Zybo ordered calmly, even with a bit of carelessness. The flaxen mane of the Windy Dog trembled, large patches of sparks flew out, and the surrounding heat was surging. Haunter's resentment was directly scrapped. Boy, didn't your aunt tell you that the things in your school are just simulations. Don't take them seriously. You are dreaming to use negative things such as resentment, curse, and poison openly, and still want to hit. Otherwise, you can use poison, then defend and substitute, and consume the physical strength of the windy dog in this round. Zybo said, if the poison is useful, I really want to do this. Yu said, poison the opponent's Pokémon, then defend and add a substitute, and consume the opponent's Pokémon's physical strength to 0. Common tactics in Pokémon schools. Especially in game simulations, when fighting alone, there is almost no solution. But the premise of this tactic is that the opponent must be poisoned. So the opponent cannot be a steel Pokémon, and in reality, there is another rule, that it cannot be a complete fire Pokémon. The principle is very simple, high temperature disinfection. The temperature of a fully formed fire Pokémon above the elite level can reach over 300 degrees when using their ultimate moves. For example, Charmeleon can reach 1200 degrees, which is even more insane. Which one can be poisonous? For example, in the battle between Zyossi and Shinji at the Shineo Lily of the Valley tournament, Infinite destroyed the poison spikes in the entire venue with a burst of fire and electric shock, and the whole monkey was not hurt at all. Then you are looking for death. Zybo said. But these tactics are the experience of the predecessors, plus self-supplementation. Is there a problem? Yu asked. When have you ever seen similar tactics in the Champions League or the King of Kings tournament? Zybo asked back. No. Yu said honestly. Then do you know why we don't use it? Are we dumber than you, or are you all chosen by heaven? Zybo sneered. The league was founded thousands of years ago. How many champions have there been during this period? We have been trainers for how many years? What tactics have we not encountered? The tricks you kids play are just what we are tired of. After reaching the level of champion, we either completely disdain these things or target one to the end. But we definitely won't use this kind of tactic, which is to have 0 losses ourselves, and let the opponent collapse on its own. In that case, why don't you just use a fellow trainer to take my windy dog away? Chapter 63, All Out Battle. Yu frowned slightly. Reality is different from games. Many tactics in games are invalid here. He knew that, but after all, he had played for so long before, especially the ghost system, which was all kinds of dark, so he applied the appropriate game tactics to reality, and he has always been successful. This was the first time he was really taught a lesson. And the same fate, of course, cannot be used. The same fate is a ghost skill. When the opponent is attacked and dying, the opponent will be in the same state as himself. A more accurate name should be to die together. But in reality, it is very useless. Without enough ghost energy, you can't hit. With enough ghost power, will you still be dying? Unless you completely give up practicing other tricks and only practice this one trick to maximum out the proficiency of this trick. Boy, think about it. Zybo said. Yu frowned slightly. No trainer below the king would be casual about the comments of a king. Windspeed dog, jet flame. At this time, Zybo suddenly issued an attack order. Arden sprayed out fierce scorching flames, and the flame column passed through, revealing the figure of Haunter in the empty space. Haunter was pierced by the flames and almost completely lost his ability to fight. Didn't Kiku tell you that during a battle, both trainers will do whatever they can within the rules? So it is most likely that you will disturb the opponent with words. You must concentrate during the battle. Zybo looked at Yu slowly and said. Yu looked grim. Normally, he would not make such a low-level mistake, but this was a gym match, and the opponent was a highly respected king. In addition, what he said was indeed what bothered him, so he could not control himself for a while. Taking a deep breath, Yu smiled and said to Zybo, Senior is right, so it is not without reason that you are still single. Zybo's smug smile froze immediately, and he looked at Yu with a dead look, and then looked at Lilia next to Yu with a rich expression on his face. Young man, you are very brave, but compared to my deceiving you, shouldn't you be more curious about how I found Haunter, and then you formulate special tactics to deal with the subsequent battle? You should know that Haunter has no smell, and Windy Dog can't smell it. Yu frowned. This is indeed a more worthy question to think about. Windy Dog, big word explosion. Zybo's order was issued quickly, and Windy Dog opened its mouth wide, and a big word flame burst and sprayed, hitting Haunter. It's naive to fall into the trap once, and it's stupid to fall into the trap twice, kid. Zybo looked at Yu and said proudly, this distance Haunter can't avoid. Really? Yu, who was frowning, showed a weird smile on his face. Zybo's heart skipped a beat, and he saw Haunter disappear out of thin air as if teleporting. Then, from the shadow under Arcanum, a force suddenly burst out and hit Arcanum. Arcanum staggered, and his body swayed. It was the first time he had been injured since the battle. He looked at the Haunter, that suddenly appeared with a sharp look. Spiritual surprise attack. Zybo frowned. This Haunter was at most at the Qua-seeking level, but the move just now made Arcanum really feel pain, and the attack power was definitely at the King level. Is the spiritual surprise attack so powerful? Spiritual surprise attack is similar to Shadow Sneak attack, and can be said to be a weakened version of Shadow Sneak attack. Because Haunter should not be able to learn Shadow Sneak attack, so the rational judgment is spiritual surprise attack. Yu naturally did not explain, but looked at Zybo proudly and said, do you really think I'm stupid? In such a short time, you fell into the same pit twice. I don't believe a word you said. Don't talk too much. If you don't know, you will think you won. If you have the ability, beat me first. Zybo said. Okay, let's try. Yu's eyes exuded a different light, and a dark and domineering aura emanated from him. Anyway, I have to fight, so I'll try my best. Feel how strong the king is. Anyway, I won't die if I try. Haunter floated in front of Yu and resonated with Yu. One person and one Pokémon seemed to have become one. The aura soared, several times stronger than when it just came out. Zybo looked surprised and looked at Yu for the first time. This kid is interesting. Then take it a little more seriously. Zybo's eyes were sharp and fiery, and the scorching flames also broke out around the wind speed dog. In an instant, the temperature of the entire underground competition venue soared. Flame vortex. Zybo roared, and Arcanine responded with a sound like a dog barking, and a tiger roaring. Its flaming mane trembled, and the scorching heat, that was enough to melt steel, burst out from its body. The magma vibrated and boiled, the lava storm raged, and the scorching flames came overbearingly. Lily was almost unable to bear it, watching the scene in front of her in disbelief. Is this the battle between top trainers? The willful change of terrain can even cause natural disasters. Do trainers from Kanto need to fight such difficult gyms to participate in the league? Haunter. Yu's eyes widened, and the ghost energy in Haunter merged with each other. The ghost power from the god of reversal Giratina, a long roar, and endless ghost power emerged, creating a cold atmosphere next to this hot magma. Haunter's figure was infinitely enlarged, just like a ghost demon, and endless shadow balls were thrown over, even breaking through the ring. The flame of fighting spirit in Zybo's eyes became more and more vigorous. He was in telepathy with Arcanine. He could communicate in his mind without even speaking, and attack with force. A dog and a ghost fought fiercely. The fire energy and ghost energy exploded with each other. The magma rolled and exploded, and some of the surrounding rock walls began to shatter. It lasted for 3 minutes. The ring exploded with a bang. Haunter could not fight, and was knocked off the ring to the rock wall. The trainer who was in telepathy with it was hit hard. His body shook, and he fainted, and fell straight into the magma. Arcanine, save him. Zybo quickly ordered. Arcanine jumped up, carried Yu on his back, and then jumped onto the field. Seeing this, Zybo breathed a sigh of relief. It was a close call. If something happened to this kid, how could I face Kiku? The demolition of the Red Lotus Gym was a small matter, but the extinction of the Kyojin family was a big deal. However, this kid was really not durable. It's only been 3 minutes and he's already exhausted. You're a man too, huh? I just finished warming up, and was ready for a big fight. And this is it? Thinking of when I was young, I'd been here for days and nights. Zybo walked to Yu's side, looked at him carefully, and suddenly frowned. Wait a minute, this kid is only 11 years old, maybe even less. Where does he get such strong energy? When I was young, I wasn't that powerful. Benny, that guy, has such a grandson. If he knew about it, he would be smiling in his grave. Mr. Zybo, what's wrong with Yu? Is it dangerous? Should he be sent to the hospital? Lilia said anxiously. It's okay, just throw him into the hot spring and let him rest for a while, he's just exhausted. Zybo said calmly. That's good. Lilia breathed a sigh of relief. Is this kid planning to participate in the Quartz Conference and then win the championship to participate in the Champions League at the end of the year? Zybo said. Yes, you think so? He said he would win the championship this time and then fight for the top 8 in the Champions League. Lilia said. With him like this, how can you protect 8? Apart from Haunter, the other 2 are still a long way from being able to do it. When he wakes up, tell him that my hotel business has been very good recently and I don't have time to manage the gym for the time being. Be my acting gym trainer for 2 months and be responsible for handling gym challenges. I will teach him Flamahorse Sunshine Flame. In addition, you put Raichu and Flamahorse in the hot spring. My hot spring is very effective in treating burns. Zybo said. Mr. Zybo, can you help me? I can't do it alone. Lily said. It was difficult for a girl like her to carry the unconscious Yu. That's right, brat, you just want to cause trouble for me. Why do you come to my place? Zybo looked disgusted and then let Arcanine carry Yu. Chapter 64, Card Turtle. I'm so happy. Ayuyaya woke up, feeling as if he had run tens of thousands of meters and his whole body was exhausted. He opened his eyes and looked at himself soaking in the hot spring naked with a confused look on his face, and then he suddenly grabbed down. Well, the underwear is still there. I should not have lost my virginity. Who helped me change it? Zybo? It was a bit unfair to be seen naked by an old man. Yu shook his head and had a headache. He finally understood why in the Kalos region, he often fainted when he was bonded with Greninja. This kind of power is really uncomfortable. Fortunately, he and Haunter did not synchronize the feeling of damage. By the way, where is Haunter? Yu looked up, but did not see Haunter, but saw Raichu and Flamahorn beside him. Yu, you're awake. Lilia's excited voice sounded at the same time. Yu then realized that Lilia was right beside him. He quietly lowered his body. Although it was nothing for a man to be seen naked, he was still a little uncomfortable. He didn't have an exhibitionist fetish. Lilia, did you help me take off my clothes? Yu asked. No, it was Mr. Zybo who took it off. Lilia blushed slightly. Oh. Yu nodded. What about Haunter? Haunter was taken to the Pokémon Center by Mr. Zybo for treatment, and Raichu and Flamahorse were with you. Mr. Zybo said that it would be more convenient to treat them this way. In addition, Mr. Zybo said that he wanted to do the hotel business and had no time to manage the gym. He planned to ask you to help him manage the gym for 2 months. If you succeed, as a reward, he would teach Flamahorse to learn Sunshine Flame. Do you agree? Lilia said. Of course I agree. Yu said without hesitation. It's a good thing that falls from the sky. What's there to hesitate about? It's called a deal, but in fact, it's just a gift. The Red Lotus Gym is basically half abandoned. It is difficult to find a trainer who is not destined to challenge it for 2 months. Originally, Yu was still thinking about how to let Flamahorse learn Sunshine Flame, but he didn't expect Zybo to be willing to do it. That couldn't be better. After all, Zybo also has a Flamahorse, a professional counterpart. Yu suddenly felt that Zybo was much kinder. In addition, Mr. Zybo said that your strength is too poor. It is impossible to make it to the quarterfinals in the Champions League. Let you practice more. Lilia said. Yes. Yu nodded seriously. The battle with Zybo did expose many problems. The current Linoop is no problem for the Quartz Conference. But if it is to play the Champions League, it will be a big problem. The Champions League brings together people from all over the world who have won the Regional League Championship, as well as the strong people jointly recommended by the kings of each region. Among these people, the worst should have a quasi-king main force. The middle level should have a king main force. The strongest, like Sharona, has at least 4 kings, or even 6 kings. Sharona can be ignored. There should be only 1. But there will be no shortage of people who have a Utopian as their main force, and I'm not good enough now. After training, Haunter, plus Z moves or Mega Evolution, and my humanoid plugin, I should be able to take on a Utopian. But the rest really need to be tempered. Raichu, Absol, Flame and Squirtle are still a long way from being able to stand on their own. Raichu has obvious advantages and obvious disadvantages. Absol and Flame have obvious advantages and almost no disadvantages in ordinary league meetings, but in the Champion League, they have no advantages and no disadvantages, and are mediocre. It is not possible to strengthen in a short period of time, and what is needed now is hard training. Improve a little bit every day, or even a little bit every month, and then quantitative changes will lead to qualitative changes. Flame and Chabot's Flame should be able to learn a lot, and Absol, during this period, find Chabot's other Pokémon to fight more. Fighting is the best practice. Finally, Squirtle, just train normally and improve slowly. It's stupid to set too high a standard just after catching it. By the way, Lily, where's Squirtle? You said. I'm naked now, and I haven't seen Squirtle's Pokéball. Swimming nearby. Lily pointed to another hot spring pool. You looked in the direction of Lily's finger, and saw Squirtle swimming happily there. You couldn't help but look weird when he saw this scene. Squirtle, and Blastoise, in terms of living habits, should actually tend to be freshwater turtles. So a group of freshwater turtles living in the sea is already quite special, and now they are happily bathing in the hot spring. What is this? A turtle that doesn't like hot spring bathing is not a good freshwater turtle? Squirtle noticing Yu's gaze, Squirtle turned his head stupidly, as if he just realized that it was wrong for him to swim happily when his trainer was injured. He jumped out of his own swimming pool and jumped into Yu's pool and then swam happily in front of Yu. Stop swimming. Let's talk about the important things first. I need your help with something. Yu pulled Stottle over. Stottle's 2 feet were in the air. Looking at Yu, Kazlan's eyes widened. What? You don't want me to fight, do you? You can dig holes. Come and teach Raichu how to dig holes. Yu said. Raichu has outstanding advantages. If it is only remote, Raichu can fight with the Qua-seeking. The disadvantages are obvious. It can't be solved smoothly remotely. It is dangerous when it gets close. Now time is tight, and it is troublesome to make up for the shortcomings. Just develop the strengths and find ways to make up for the shortcomings later. So Raichu needs to enhance the evasion skills. Learn from Zyos's Pikachu, dodge quickly, and hold on. However, if this method is used, it is quite difficult, because Raichu's body size. Yu was a little desperate. Although there are many flexible fat guys, most of them are not flexible. Even Marzish's one is not agile, not to mention that Raichu was only trained by Lumigia. Pikachu didn't practice speed well. If the normal method doesn't work, then you can only take unconventional methods. Go up to the sky, go down to the ground. In reality, it is a very effective method. Going up to the sky is not possible for the time being, without wings. But going down to the ground is no problem. The ready-made teacher is here. Kami, hearing that he was going to teach Raichu to dig a hole, Kami Stolit was confident and patted his chest with his little hands. No problem, that's it? Is this also called a matter? Then, you will train yourself. You have a good movement speed and are flexible in short distances. In the future, you will train for 3 hours every afternoon to move on the spot, practice plum blossom piles, and then take out an hour to practice the rocket hammer with water to see if you can practice water jets and strengthen yourself. Yu said. Kami Stolit nodded. This human looks pretty good. Professional. Much better than Blastoise, but he only knows how to be mean to me. In this way, I will teach Raichu to dig a hole every morning and learn plum blossom piles and water jets every afternoon. Oh, wait, then won't my time for the day be used up? Kami Stolit stared at Yu. What about my time to play? Stottle, you are a mature turtle now. You should learn to exercise and grow on your own instead of playing like a child. Do you want to be proud? Return to the island and teach Blastoise how to be a turtle? Then take a group of younger brothers and go on adventures everywhere. No longer have to be constrained by mothers-in-law. Yu said. Stottle's eyes lit up, thinking about it. In this way, we will grow together, accept my training, and then we will return home in glory. And even with such training, your time at night is still free time. You can play by yourself, right? Yu said. At night, it's still mine. From this point of view, it seems not bad. Stottle nodded naively. Yu's mouth corners rose wildly. As expected, the Squirtle family is equal to naive. After training for a whole day, how much time do you have to play at night? Moreover, I only give you time at night. In other words, during the day, you are all mine. Yu soaked in the hot spring happily, and her body naturally slid down, snuggling with Blaze, truly soaking in a hot spring. Chapter 65. The days of acting as a gym trainer. Big news, big benefits. In order to give back to all tourists for their support for the development of our tourism industry on Hanglian Island, starting today, within 2 months, anyone who challenges the Hanglian gym and obtains a gym badge will have all their expenses reduced by half on Hanglian Island. After soaking in the hot spring for a few days, Yu, who had fully recovered, was about to take his Pokémon for some special training. At this time, the loudspeakers in various places on Hanglian Island suddenly broadcast the news. And it kept looping, and it looped for 10 times before stopping. Yu, who was about to build a plum blossom pile, heard the news, and his face changed suddenly. Consumption reduced by half. Just for this, the threshold of Hanglian gym will be trampled. Zybo, this is not to let him relax and mess around. Practice well. These are 8 gym badges, 2 months. That's all. If you lose them all, you can find a way yourself. In addition, all the discounts on Hanglian Island will be compensated by your family. Zybo walked over slowly from the side and threw a box of gym badges into Yu's arms. Why? Didn't you get my consent in advance? Yu said. Do you want to learn Sunshine Flame? Zybo looked at Yu and said. Yu took a deep breath and then exhaled. Just pretend I didn't say anything. It's difficult for a fire type to learn the ultimate move of the grass type. Without a professional teacher, it takes a lot of capital. All these are not necessarily less than these 50% off. And I don't necessarily lose. My goal is to be the champion of the Quartz Conference. If I can't even deal with the challenger, then there's no need to fight. Very good. Zybo looked at Yu with a playful expression in his eyes. Naive, I must think that it's just a battle against those trainers who traveled for the league conference. But, do you think that only those trainers will come to you under the temptation of 50% off? As long as you can't think of it, there will be no one who won't come. Practice well, young man. Do you still want to live a leisurely life? If you don't go out to travel and meet all kinds of people, you want to reach the top, you are too naive. Yu, is it okay? Lilia looked at Yu and said, this seems to be completely different from what Yu planned. No, but that's fine. Let's do it this way. Before the game, it's a good thing to spar with different opponents. It's just that Haunter and the others will have to work hard. Yu said. Well, come on. Lily gave Yu a cheering gesture and then went out shopping. Anyway, she had nothing to do if she stayed. Yu also stood up and stretched her muscles a little. With this benefit, there will definitely be a lot of trainers coming to the door. On the one hand, there should be some restrictions, such as 5 trainers a day or appointment registration. On the other hand, frequent battles will help the growth of Pokémon and adapt to the rhythm of battle. With the same strength, those who are used to fighting are definitely better than those who are old. Like Professor Oak, he was once a champion, but after so many years of old age, his Pokémon is also in a relaxed state. He was surpassed by his aunt Kiku. But at the same time, high intensity battles put a lot of pressure on Pokémon. There must be a professional Pokémon doctor or breeder to treat it, otherwise it is easy to leave hidden injuries. This is also something to prepare for in the future. If I go traveling by myself, I will definitely need a good Pokémon doctor and breeder to take care of me. In this regard, Yu envied Xylsey very much, who always had the perfect male second partner, especially Zygang. Although he often couldn't control himself in front of beautiful women, except for this time, he was 10,000 reliable at other times. He could cook, take care of Pokémon, do housework, and even treat simple illnesses. He is almost omnipotent, and it doesn't cost money. Traveling together, you can even share some money. After thinking about it, Yu called her mother. Mommy, speak human language. What can I do for you? Yu was about to act coquettishly and cutely, asking her mother for help, but before she finished, she was rudely interrupted by her mother. Yu took another deep breath. "Dear mother, dear," and simply got straight to the point. "I need a professional personal Pokémon breeder for me, preferably with some medical skills." "No problem. Do you have any other requirements?" asked her mother. "The breeder can't be too old, young, and if she's a beautiful woman, it's best. If not, then change to an average looking boy. Don't look for a breeder who's more handsome than me," Yu said. "That's not a big problem. Any other questions?" asked Yu's mother. "No more," Yu said. "Then hang up. I'll ship it to you within a month. This month, you should handle it yourself. Also, try to get closer to Zybo. A master like him, any word from him is precious to you," said Yu's mother. "Okay." Yu said a few words and then hung up the phone. "Excuse me, is this the new Hanglian gym?" Yu just hung up the phone when a middle-aged fat uncle came in with luggage, followed by a woman and 2 children. "This is the new Hanglian gym. Are you here to challenge?" Yu looked at the uncle in confusion. At this age, he looked like an unprofessional trainer. "Do you still want to win? Do you think he's a loser?" "Yes, my whole family is traveling. I heard that if you win, you can get half the price." "Excuse me, where is the gym trainer?" said the middle-aged uncle. "I'm the acting gym trainer. If you defeat me, you can enjoy half price for everything," Yu said. "Well, come on." The middle-aged uncle's eyes lit up. He heard that the gym trainers of the Red Lotus gym were very powerful. He originally came to give it a try. He didn't expect that a child would win 80% of the time. Seeing the impatient middle-aged uncle, Yu took the initiative to lead the way in front and walk to an open place. The original battlefield was damaged and has not been repaired yet, so he had to find a piece of open space and make do with it. Fortunately, the top of the mountain is all Red Lotus Gym, so you can find any open space to fight. As the acting gym trainer, I will briefly introduce the rules to you. Both sides can only release 3 Pokémon. As a gym trainer, I can't change Pokémon, but you can. Release them at the same time, and then you attack first, Yu said. "No problem, I knew all this when I was young, but I didn't make it to the league later, so I didn't develop on the path of trainer," the middle-aged uncle said. "Okay, Haunter, come out," Yu called out, and Haunter immediately came to Yu. "Hey, young man, you don't follow the rules. Isn't the Red Lotus Gym a fire-type gym? Why are you using a ghost type?" said the middle-aged uncle. "I'm just an agent, so many of my Pokémon are not fire-type, and as long as one of the gym trainers meets the gym's attributes, it's fine," Yu said. For example, in the Johto region, the gym trainer of the Manjin Gym, Zio-Kyan, is a general type gym trainer, but she only has a normal type Miltank in her hand. When Zybo fights against others, the 3 regular ones, in addition to Ninetales and Charmeleon, are Tyrannosaurus Rex, which has nothing to do with the fire type. "Okay, Charizard, come out." The uncle took out the Pokeball, a red light flashed, and a huge Charizard appeared in the sky. Yu was stunned. Is he mistaken? The first Pokémon is Charizard? "Uncle, are you the legendary Passaby Master? This Pokémon is my first Pokémon, and has been with me for a long time. It's just that I don't have the talent to be a Pokémon Master, so I've let it down." "Boy, let's have a good fight," the uncle said. Yu raised his eyebrows. At this moment, he realized that he had overlooked something. Usually, those who come to the gym to challenge are all aiming for the league, but Zybo's promotion has no restrictions, so those who are not aiming for the league will also come. Even in theory, the king can come to fight. Although no king is really so idle, it also means that the next 2 months will not be so easy. Just like this middle-aged uncle, he should be like the 2 passers-by in Pallet Town who never appeared and could not make it to the league. When he was a teenager, he had a dream and wanted to become a master, but was destroyed by reality, recognized himself, and changed his career. But starting at the age of 10, now 20 years have passed. Even if the trainer is a scumbag, the initial Pokémon issued by the league will not be bad if they train themselves. Taking a deep breath, Yu began to show a smile full of challenging desire on his face. This kind of battle is also interesting. It is more training than the battle in school. Let's have a good fight. Haunter, Shadow Ball. Chapter 66 Zyaksu. Haunter, Hypnotize. Crumbly, Rocket Hammer. Raichu, 100,000 volts. Absol, destroy the death ray. Countless orders came out of Yu's mouth, and countless fierce battles broke out on the hillside. A Gyarados stood on the hillside, roaring fiercely, and a water column as thick as a bucket was sprayed from its mouth, which could easily destroy a building made of reinforced concrete. However, the Absol on the opposite side did not have the slightest fear on his face. Although this attack was powerful, it was just that, after feeling it more, compared with the water cannon of the last Blastoise, this Gyarados was still a bit of a loser. Absol, jump up and use lightning flash on the water cannon, Yu said. Absol exerted force on all four hooves, suddenly jumped onto the water column sprayed by Gyarados, moved so fast that it left an afterimage, and in the blink of an eye, it came to the mouth of Gyarados, and beat Gyarados alive. The trainer on the other side was stunned when he saw this. For the first time, he found that there was such a form of battle. Destruction Death Beam. The trainer on the other side was stunned, but Yu would not be dazed. He gave the final order without thinking. Absol jumped into the sky, and the orange-yellow beam of light in its mouth condensed and exploded instantly, hitting Gyarados. Gyarados screamed miserably, fell down heavily, and fainted directly. Running on the water column, there is such a way of fighting? The trainer on the other side looked at Yu in disbelief. Of course there is. Pokémon battles are all-encompassing and all-inclusive. Yu smiled. It has been a month since the battle with the first fat uncle. In the past month, trainers have been coming to challenge, one after another. Yu's practical experience has accumulated rapidly. I learned a lesson. I wanted to have a 50% discount, but I didn't expect you to be so strong. The trainer on the other side said. Yu shrugged and smiled, sent the trainer away, then took a heavy breath, and leaned against Absol. Yu didn't even know how many trainers he had defeated. Since the news spread, it was just as Zabo expected. All kinds of trainers came to challenge. Yu almost died of exhaustion. Finally, the rules were changed to a one-on-one duel, and each challenger could only send one Pokémon. Then, there was a rotation of odd and even days, with odd days for fighting, and even days for rest. This time it was a little quieter. Yu, come on, you have defeated 42 challengers, and lost 2 gym badges, which is amazing. If you continue at this rate, you will lose at most 4 gym badges. Lilia said on the side. These days, she was the one who counted the number of challengers, registered the challengers' battle time, registered the challengers, and also acted as the referee of the battle. In 1 month, she learned a lot of experience. I hope so, Yu said. Also, Auntie told me that the breeder you wanted will arrive at noon today, and she wants you to pick him up at the dock. Lilia said. It's noon, so it won't be long. The nearest cruise ship should arrive around 11 o'clock. What breeder is it? Yu asked. I don't know. Auntie said she's a beauty, and she's a professional trainer. You can tell at a glance. Lily said. Beauty? Yu raised his eyebrows, and suddenly felt that his body was full of energy again. There are many love stories between trainers and excellent breeders. Then I'll go pick it up first. Flame Horse. Yu roared inside, and a fiery red shadow immediately galloped in. Yu jumped on the horse, and rushed towards the dock. Flame Horse is naturally very fast. In a short distance, most cars are not as fast as it. It was a short time before they arrived at the dock. Lily was left dumbfounded. I haven't given her contact information yet. How can I find it? Finally, she sighed heavily. Then she hugged her only successful Absol to play. Yu rode on Flame Horse, making himself particularly eye-catching. He didn't know the breeder who came, but this breeder should know him. Looking around, a boat slowly approached where the water and sky met. Yu looked excited, watching everyone get off the boat, looking forward to his future partner. Soon, a figure caught his eye. With long smooth light green hair and a simple, clean dress, she looked fresh and clean, like a beautiful girl next door. Hello, is this Mr. Yu? The royal sister looked at the photo in her hand, then at Yu. Yes, it's me, Yuazayaksu, one of the top 10 excellent breeders. Yu looked at the royal sister in front of him, and said in surprise. He knew that, if his mother took action, it would not be an ordinary trainer, but he did not expect that Zayaksu would come. Trainers are a mainstream industry in today's society, but the most popular one is not the trainer, but the breeder. also called a breeder. Cultivate Pokémon and adjust the various states of Pokémon to the peak. Specialize in the cultivation and health management of spiritual Pokémon, and is also an excellent Pokémon food master. Top Pokémon breeders can adjust the physical condition of Pokémon to the best, or even turn weakness into strength, find the biggest advantage of Pokémon, and provide reference for trainers. Some trainers can even see the potential and limit of Pokémon in the future at a glance. As for the care and cultivation of Pokémon eggs, these are even more basic. Xianagang treated her as a goddess and even wanted to become her apprentice. It can be seen what level Xiaoxu is. You really didn't expect that his mother was so powerful. I'm Xiaoxu, and I will be your exclusive breeder in the future. Please take care of me, Xiaoxu said. Take care of each other, and I should be the one to trouble you. My Pokémon will depend on you in the future. Yu stretched out his hand to Xiaoxu. This is what I should do. Xiaoxu shook hands with Yu and then said to the flame horse beside Yu with great interest, this flame horse is well bred, the flame mane is soft, and the temperature is higher than usual. As she spoke, Xiaoxu reached out and touched the chin of the flame horse. Wait a minute. Yu was about to say that he would get burned, but he saw that Flammer horse was enjoying Xiaoxu's touch, and his heart moved. Sure enough, this is the strength of a breeder. I also have Raichu, Haunter, Squirtle, Absol and a Pokémon egg. I'll trouble you with all these in the future. In addition, I will be the acting gym trainer for the next 2 months, so the battles will be frequent, and you have to worry more. Yu said. No problem, these are what I should do. Can you let me see Absol? I haven't seen Absol yet, Xiaoxu said. No problem. Yu smiled indifferently, took Xiaoxu's bag, and led the way in front. Hey, you are the acting gym trainer of the Red Lotus Gym, right? I've been waiting for you for a long time. Why are you here so late? Yu led Xiaoxu back to the Red Lotus Gym, but before entering the door, he was stopped by a young man in his 20s, who was dressed in a slovenly manner. Chapter 67 Bad Boys. You want to fight me? Yu looked at the young man and asked in a formal manner. Isn't that nonsense? If I don't want to fight you, why would I come to you? It's better to find the beauty next to you. Hurry up and beat you sooner, so that I can go to the dormitory earlier. You are really a little kid. Your hair hasn't even grown out yet, the young man said impatiently. Yu frowned. If he opened a gym himself, he would definitely kick the man out, but as an agent, he still held back his temper and walked to the open space on the side. The rules of the Red Lotus Gym competition are 1-on-1. The gym trainer goes first and attacks later, and the challenger goes second and attacks first. Lilia acted as a referee and explained the rules. No problem, stop talking nonsense, finish the fight sooner, and I'll leave earlier, the young man said impatiently. Okay, Flame Horse. Yu patted Flame Horse, and Flame Horse spit out sparks, and walked to the venue. Looking at the bad youth opposite, his eyes were full of disgust. Fire-type creatures are all very bad. Come out, Swampert. The bad boy threw a Pokeball, and a red light flashed. A giant blue creature with fins appeared in the field. Yu frowned immediately. Although this bad boy looked neither polite nor a good person, his strength was probably not low. Swampert was the final evolution of the new water-type pet water leaf fish in the Hone region, similar to the Kanto Blastoise, and it has both water and earth attributes, and is immune to the electrical attacks that the water-type fears the most. Swampert, Earthquake. The bad boy took the lead in giving the order. Swampert stomped his feet suddenly, and the earth trembled. The terrifying earthquake waves attacked in all directions, and the rock walls of the entire mountain were shaking. Leap, charge, flame attack, Yu said. Earthquakes are powerful, but as long as they are not on the ground, the damage of earthquakes is 0, and the core of the earthquake will not vibrate. Flame Horse neighed, leaped up, and thick flames rose from its body. It rushed towards Swampert at lightning speed. Water Cannon. Facing Yu's response, the bad young man's face did not change at all, as if everything was expected. He calmly issued a battle order, and Swampert opened his mouth wide, and a thick column of water sprayed from his mouth fiercely, hitting Flame Horse directly. Spray Flame. Yu also immediately issued an order. Flame spewed out of Flame Horse's mouth, several times stronger than normal, burning the air, and attacking Swampert with blazing heat. The flames and water cannon collided violently, burning with a sizzling sound, and large patches of white mist emerged. Yu frowned slightly. The only advantage of a trainer in dealing with the challenge of a challenger is the venue, which he has been using. During the training these days, Zybo's fire Pokémon and Flame Horse kept using Sunny Day, so the weather nearby has always been Sunny Day. Flame Horse's flames are very powerful, but the opposite Swampert can easily take it, which shows that the opponent is really strong. Swampert, water flow breaks. The stalemate was beyond the bad youth's expectation, so he changed his tactics immediately. Swampert's eyes showed a dangerous light, and a water sword composed of pure water power was born in his big hand. He suddenly swung it out, breaking the water flow, splitting the flames, and slashing it directly on the body of Flame Horse, knocking Flame Horse to the ground. A large amount of water flowed on Flame Horse, extinguishing many flames. Flame Horse used the energy-generated flame attack again. Flame Horse stood up, instinctively shook his body, and shook the energy-generated flame attack again, but before he could launch an attack, Swampert attacked. Freeze Punch. Swampert punched, hitting Flame Horse violently, and knocked Flame Horse away with one punch. Yu frowned again. This guy's ability to seize the opportunity was simply terrible, and his combat experience was so rich that it was terrifying. But why did he use the freeze punch? Ice-type tricks have limited damage to fire-type Pokémon. Just thinking about it, Yu suddenly saw that Flame Horse's left leg suddenly bled. Yu's face suddenly changed. How could it be possible? How could the frozen fist cause bleeding? Water flow breaks. Yu was surprised. The bad boy remained calm and gave orders calmly, with a disdainful expression on his face. These trainers were all greenhouse flowers. How could they understand real fighting? Swampert gathered a water sword in his hand and slashed at Flamahorse. Sunshine Flame. Yu shouted suddenly. Flamahorse raised his head and sang loudly. The sunlight in the sky suddenly gathered and turned into a beam of light, which suddenly shot down and wrapped Flamahorse and Swampert at the same time. Flamahorse's left leg was injured. If it ran violently, it would aggravate the injury. It was inconvenient, and it might not be possible to dodge. It would be better to exchange injuries directly. Sunshine Flame's damage to Flamahorse was halved, and it was quadrupled when it hit Swampert. No, Swampert, get out of the way. The bad boy's face suddenly changed. This Flamahorse actually knew Sunshine Flame, a fire-type learning grass-type ultimate move. Are you kidding? Swampert stopped immediately and prepared to leave. Plazon, pounce. Yu said. Plazon immediately exerted force on its hind legs, stepped on one of Swampert's legs tightly, and pulled Swampert down. At this time, Sunflame suddenly fell down and hit the two Pokémon at the same time. There was a bang. Smoke billowed, blocking the view, and then Swampert let out an angry roar, lifted Plazon and jumped out. Covered with scars, but the eyes were more fierce and ferocious. Swampert, are you okay? The bad youth asked with concern. Swampert roared roughly, indicating that it was okay. Okay, Rockfall. The bad youth shouted. Swampert stepped on the ground cracked and trembled violently, and then his thick arms suddenly hit down, and countless rocks flew out and hit Plazon. Are you jumping again? Plazon, Sunflame. Yu's order was immediately issued, and Plazon once again burst into Sunflame, and a fierce beam of light fell. It's hard to dodge, but do you dare to resist? Swampert, defend. The bad young man's face changed again. Swampert immediately changed his action, smashing rocks into the sky continuously, fighting against the Sunflame, barely offsetting it. Very good, keep attacking. The bad young man said. Swampert prepared to attack again. The ground trembled, and countless rocks flew up. Sunflame, fire continuously. Yu's order remained the same, and fierce beams of light fell one after another. Swampert, hold on, said the bad young man. Swampert immediately understood, waving his arms, and rocks kept flying up to form a barrier, followed by a green light film rising, bearing the continuous attacks. Yu frowned. Now it seems that it is the Flame Horse that launched the attack, and the Swampert was forced to defend. But the Flame Horse cannot continue to launch the Sunflame. If so, the physical strength will be consumed too much. If it is not possible to break through in one breath, then the Flame Horse will be defeated. But what can be done? The horse's legs were injured, and it can't run many times. As for Sunlight Blaze, it was either blocked or missed. We must find a way out, as soon as possible. Boy, your flame horse is running out of energy. The bad boy looked at Yu and said. Yu was too lazy to pay attention. He had an idea in his mind, but it was too risky. Then let me deal with you. Swampert, give him the last water flow break, said the bad boy. Swampert roared, and a water sword condensed in his hand, slashing towards Flame Horse. Flame Horse, Sunlight Blaze, Yu said. Get out of the way. The bad boy said calmly, meaningless tricks, the same trick. Do you still want to succeed after using it several times? Swampert jumped suddenly and left quickly, as if he had no intention of attacking in the first place. Sunlight Blaze fell straight down and only hit Flame Horse. The bad boy showed a disdainful smile on his face. He was just playing tricks on himself. Fire Horse, charge forward with Sunshine Flame. However, at this time, Yu suddenly gave the order, and the Fire Horse, which was bearing the power of Sunshine Flame, suddenly reacted and absorbed the power of Sunshine Flame in the sky, and then slammed into Swampert. The Sunshine Flame was draped over his body, as if it was a layer of unparalleled armor. The long horn hit Swampert's body, and one horn knocked Swampert away, and it fell heavily to the ground, revealing a pair of big circular eyes. At the same time, it took 2 Sunshine Flames and 8 times the damage. If it didn't fall, it would be really unfair. Zybo on the high platform saw this, and nodded with satisfaction, which was considered qualified. Chapter 68 Zyozzy and Zyomeo. Swampert lost his ability to fight, and gym trainer Yu won. Lily announced excitedly. TSK. It was just a moment of carelessness. If you really go to the jungle with your school-style fighting methods, you will definitely die the fastest. The bad boy said. The jungle? Is your profession a Pokémon explorer? Yu looked at the bad boy and said. Pokémon explorer, a profession between black and white. They explore jungles and ruins that are rarely visited by people, and the richness of Pokémon information is inseparable from their credit. But the reason why it is said to be between black and white, that's because most Pokémon explorers are actually Pokémon hunters. They illegally capture rare Pokémon in the name of exploration. But this way, some things are simple. No wonder Flamahorse was injured with one blow. The attack of this kind of people is a complete life and death battle. It is a routine operation to cripple the opponent's Pokémon. Of course, kid, if I hadn't been careless, I would never lose this time. Your fighting method is too naive. The bad boy said disdainfully. Why are you so proud? You are the one who lost the game. Lily complained for Yu. It was just luck. The bad boy said disdainfully. You don't know much about the true abilities of Pokémon, and you only have a vague understanding of the application of Pokémon, so you don't know that Sunshine Flame can be used on your body, right? Come to think of it, if you could get good results in various league conferences, you wouldn't become a Pokémon explorer. Yu said. There are 2 types of Pokémon explorers. One is recognized by the league, and they are all on the staff and enjoy high benefits. But the one in front of him is obviously not one of them. That is the other type, who can't get results in the league conference, so they can only rely on themselves, and do something half black and half white. Boy, what do you know? Do you think the league conference is easy? There are at least tens of thousands of trainers who aim for the league conference every year, but how many can get 8 gym badges, and how many can become league champions? The bad boy screamed like a cat whose tail was stepped on. I don't know whether it was easy or not, but I know that you failed. Losers, don't cry. Since you are a Pokémon explorer, you should know what it means, that losers have no human rights. Go by yourself, or I will take you away, Yu said. The bad youth looked ugly, and he put away Swampert with a dusty face, and walked down the mountain. Pyro, you have worked hard, come back. Yu took Pyro back into the Pokeball, and then shouted into the room. Haunter, come out, send Pyro to the Pokémon Center. Pyro was seriously injured and needed professional treatment. It was not close from here to the Pokémon Center, so it was best to let Haunter float over. Trouble. Please go and capture a flying Pokémon as soon as possible. I'm a ghost type, and being a messenger is not my specialty. A phantom floated by, and Haunter took the Pokeball, complained to Yu, and then took the Pokeball to the Pokémon Center at the foot of the mountain. Just now, did I hear it wrong? Haunter can talk. Xiaoxu looked at Yu in disbelief. My Haunter is special, so it's okay. It's a rare case. Ghost and Psychic are more special. You should know this, Yu said. Xiaoxu nodded. She originally worked for Yu because her teacher owed a favor to the Kyojin family, so she came here to work for a year, but now it seems that it might be her good luck. As an excellent breeder, she wants to take care of all kinds of Pokémon in the world. Yu took Xiaoxu to familiarize herself with the surroundings, and then introduced her to Lilia. Then he went to the rooftop balcony and looked at Xiaobo, who was lying on a chair basking in the sun, and said, "Senior, how do you use the frozen fist to make blood? Don't ask me such a low-level question. The frozen fist controls the ice power on the fist and condenses the ice power into an ice front. This way, the damage will be greater." Such a simple question can be figured out by just thinking about it. You still come to ask me. You are really stupid because of studying too much, Xiaobo said casually while lying on the chair. Control the ice front? It's exactly what I thought. Yu nodded. First use the water stream to wet the flames on the flame horse, and then seized the opportunity to use the frozen fist. The two hits were in the same place. Only then did they succeed in bleeding. Although that bad boy was not a good person, his fighting style was worth learning from. In the League Conference, some extremes cannot be used, but if you encounter a group of Team Rocket in the wild, there is no scruple. You are wise after the event. Just pretend here you know it. Why are you asking me? Xiaobo said. I just want to make a final confirmation. Yu said. You are stubborn. Continue training. It takes so long to deal with this kind of trainer. It's more reliable to use Sunshine Flame on him in the end. Xiaobo said. Yu smiled helplessly, turned around and left, and continued to meet countless challenges and live a fulfilling and busy life. In the blink of an eye, a month passed, and the life of a proxy trainer was about to end. Yu was finally going to get rid of the identity of a proxy gym trainer and could go back to school and retire. Then, a boy wearing a hat and a hedgehog-headed boy walked in facing the rising sun. Yu, who was about to pack up and leave, saw these two people and was stunned for a moment and said, "Why are you two here? Are you traveling together?" Xiaomao. It's been a while since we last met. I won't go with this brainless guy. I just collected 10 gym badges and came to Hanglian Island for a tour. I heard that I could get a 50% discount if I beat the gym, so I came. I didn't expect it to be you. It's just right for me to wash away the shame of the Pokémon Academy. Xiaomao said to Yu. Xiaomao, you're great. Xiaomao, you're great. As soon as Xiaomao finished speaking, the 6 female cheerleaders behind Xiaomao shouted. Yu habitually ignored the 6 cheerleaders behind Xiaomao and looked at Xiaozhi. I'm here to challenge the gym, and I registered earlier than Xiaomao, so I'll challenge first. Xiaozhi glanced at Xiaomao proudly. This is the benefit of having a reliable companion. If it wasn't for Xiao Gang helping me, I really forgot. By the way, Xiao Gang, why is he gone? Xiaozhi glanced over and found that Xiao Gang, who had always been by his side, was not there. He tried hard to find him, and only then saw Xiao Gang kneeling on one knee in front of Xiaozu, with a face full of admiration and intoxication. Miss Xiaoxu, why are you here too? Is this a gift from God? Did God finally feel my feelings? Yu's mouth twitched. It was his last day at work, and only these two guys came. Can I change them? Each one was more bizarre than the other. He sighed and simply took out 2 gym badges from his pocket, threw them to Xiaozi and Xiaomao, and said, "These are gym badges, take them and go." He hadn't lost this month, so he only lost 2 in total. Giving 2 more was no big deal. As for the 50% discount for the hotel, Yu didn't care. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69 vs Xiao Mao. Is this the gym badge of the Red Lotus Gym? Xiao looked at the gym badge in his hand in disbelief. Was it so easy to get it? Are you insulting me? Xiao Mao threw the gym badge back to Yu angrily. What's the point of getting a gym badge without going through a gym battle? No point. Xiao felt guilty for some reason when he heard this. Who said it's meaningless? The gym badge itself represents the recognition of the challenger by the gym trainer, and there is more than just one way to gain the recognition of the gym trainer. I recognize the strength of both of you, Yu said. Xiao was relieved when he heard this. I don't care. Even if this didn't happen, I would still challenge you, Xiao said. Do you really want to fight? I've been fighting for 2 months. It's the last day. I can't even take a day off, Yu said. No, fight. Xiao insisted. Fight him. If you win, I'll give you a mysterious water drop. Xiao suddenly appeared from nowhere and said, mysterious water drop? Yu's eyes suddenly flashed. If you say so, it's completely different. Sure enough, these big guys all have good things in their hands. Yes, that's it. Xiao nodded, looked at Xiao Mao and said, you are Damu's grandson, right? Yes, but I'm me, and my grandfather is my grandfather. Xiao Mao said. Young man, be confident, it's a good thing. Xiao nodded, then turned to look at Yu and said, fight to death. I feel comfortable watching, and the reward will be doubled. No problem. Xiao Mao, come. Yu heard this, and immediately became energetic and excited. Come on. Although Xiao Mao was confused throughout the whole process, it was good to fight. Then which rule should we use? 3-3 or 1-1? Lilia asked. 3-3. Xiao Mao and Yu said in unison. Xiao Mao wanted to wash away the shame of the last defeat, so of course he wanted the same. And Yu wanted to fight, because Xiao wanted to watch it, so 3-3 was naturally better. Okay, let's start now. The Pokémon duel with the Red Lotus Gym badge as the stakes. Both sides can only use 3 Pokémon. Gym trainers do not have the right to change Pokémon, but challengers can change Pokémon freely. Lily said the challenge rules skillfully. She has said them every day for the past 2 months, and it has almost become an instinct. I'll go first, Raichu. Yu took out the Pokéball, a red light flashed, and a large rat appeared. Raichu jumped out, waving his little fists, his face full of blood. During this period, the continuous battles have made her completely bid farewell to her past life as an aristocratic pet, and began to develop into a warrior. Raichu? Yu, when did you get Raichu? Xiao looked at Yu strangely, and the Pikachu on his shoulder also looked at Yu's Raichu strangely. Is it beautiful, after we parted last time? Yu said proudly. My Pikachu is the cutest. Xiao also retorted proudly. No matter how cute the appearance is, it can't make up for the defect that it has poor eyesight and chose you as its trainer. Yu said. Don't talk nonsense, how can it be possible? Pikachu and I are best friends and best partners. Xiao said. Hey, stop chatting, I haven't sent out the Pokémon yet. Xiao said dissatisfiedly. Then you send it. Yu and Xiao said in unison. HMPH. Big Claw, come out. Xiao swung the Pokéball, and a huge red crab came out of the Pokéball and stood on the stage. Its huge claws were intimidating. Big Claw, a swamp crab Pokémon. It digs holes on the beach to live. Even if its claws are shot down in battle, they will grow back to their original shape. Xiao had just released the Pokémon when an electronic mechanical sound rang out. Yu turned around and found that it was Xiao who was looking at the Pokémon book. Wow, he really refreshed the Pokémon book every time he saw a Pokémon. But forget about the others. Big Claw, what are you refreshing? You don't have any of your own. Resisting the urge to complain, Yu looked at Xiao Mao and couldn't help but said, I sent the electric type and you sent the water type. You really deserve to be from Pallet Town. To be honest, although Xiao and Xiao Mao were born to be incompatible, he felt that the two of them were very similar in many cases. What's the point of winning by attributes alone? Level is the standard that determines everything. Xiao Mao said. Okay, you first. Yu said. Big Claw Crab, Bubble Beam. Xiao Mao said. The big claw crab raised its huge claws, and large pieces of colorful bubbles flew out, densely hitting Raichu. 100,000 volts. Yu was calm and composed. Raichu's eyes widened, and terrifying electric currents burst out from it, raging throughout the field, swallowing up all the bubbles in an instant, and then hitting the big claw crab. In a moment, the big claw crab fell heavily to the ground, and bursts of fragrance came from its body. It's over. Zhi on the side was stunned. Although he didn't admit it, in his heart, Xiaomao has always been the goal he pursued, and he is stronger than he is now. But when facing Yu, he was killed instantly. Pikachu was also stunned. Is this electric current so strong? Should I work harder? The trainer is not doing well. If I don't do well, I will be finished. Big claw crab. Xiaomao couldn't believe it. It was not the first time that he had reversed the attributes. When he first played the gym, he would do a data investigation in advance, and then change the Pokémon in his hand, and make corresponding tactical adjustments. But later he found that this group of gym trainers were really bad, so he played against the attributes. He also successfully won 3 gym badges. After his debut, he has never lost except for the one with Yu. As a result, the first game was so fast. Shaking his head violently, Xiaomao began to calm down, and looked at Yu and said, "You are really strong, but the one who will win this game must be me. Come out, my sweetheart." Xiaomao kissed his Pokeball, then threw it out, and a huge purple bipedal Pokémon appeared on the field. Nidoking, a drill Pokémon. It can swing its huge tail. When it sees its opponent is timid, it will charge at them with its hard body. The mechanical voice sounded again. Yu was too lazy to look back, and thought about Nidoking's situation. A dual attribute Pokémon, ground plus poison. Both attributes are very useful. Ground is immune to electric attacks when the strength gap is not too great. The poison attribute is troublesome. In reality, among the 18 attributes, the psychic attribute is the most terrifying, but the poison attribute is the most dangerous. If you are poisoned, you will die. Nidoking, use Horn Charge. Xiaomao gave the order decisively, and Nidoking immediately charged towards Raichu, with the horn on his head spinning and emitting a strange purple color. Horn Charge, a general skill. But because the horn on Nidoking's head is poisonous, this skill needs to have a bit of poison added to its effect. Yu was very calm just seeing this. Thunder to the horn. Thunder Raichu roared, and a terrifying electric current burst out, suddenly fell from the sky, and hit Nidoking steadily on the horn. Then the strong electric current violently vented on Nidoking, and Nidoking fell to the ground with a snap, revealing a pair of circular eyes. Nidoking, lose the ability to fight. Lilia glanced at Nidoking and sentenced. Wait a minute, Nidoking is a ground type, and can be immune to electric attacks. Why can your Raichu hurt my Nidoking? This is unreasonable. Xiaomao looked at Yu in disbelief. Because the horn on Nidoking's head is like a lightning rod, and you are not a good conductor of electricity, Yu said. If you encounter Nidoking in other places, and use the current Raichu to fight, Yu really has no way. Because up to now, apart from those 4 useless skills, Raichu can only use 100,000 volts, thunder, and digging. But, this is a Red Lotus gym, and Xiaozi and Pikachu are there. So Yu had to recall the classic battle in the original series. Pikachu hit the horn of the Tyrannosaurus Rex with lightning, and then stunned it alive. With a ready-made example, Yu of course copied it. 2 Pokémon in a row were taken away by Yu's Raichu. Xiaomao's expression became extremely ugly, and he no longer had the initial confidence. Xiaobo was also a little surprised. Although Yu had been training here for a while, and could barely be considered an elite trainer, it shouldn't be so easy. Didn't they say that this kid from the Oak family already had 10 gym badges, and was a genius? Is he so bad? It seems that I trained better, much better than that guy Oak. Chapter 70 Hardworking Yu, 100,000 volts. Lightning flashed, and a majestic wind speed dog fell to the ground with a bang, its body stiff, and its muscles still twitching slightly. All 3 Pokémon challengers have lost their ability to fight, and the acting gym trainer Yu won. Lily announced. Raichu, you've worked hard. Yu looked at Raichu and said. Raichu excitedly pounced on Yu, and Yu stretched out his hand to hug him, ready to be intimate, but Raichu poked Yu and gestured with his hands. Ordinary people couldn't understand it at all, but Yu understood it, raised his eyebrows and said, "You said you want to play with Lily's tablet?" Raichu kept nodding, looking excited. "Okay, go ahead. When you learn Iron Tail, I will buy you a tablet specifically for you to play whack-a-mole," Yu said. Raichu has no fingers, so some games with complex operations cannot be played, but whack-a-mole is completely possible. One punch per mole. Strictly speaking, Raichu is also a mouse. I don't know if this counts as cannibalism. Raichu was full of excitement. "I want to exercise 300 push-ups every day from now on." "Okay, failure is the mother of success. Stay calm. Occasionally fail. It will help you grow." Yu walked to Xiaomao's side, patted Xiaomao on the shoulder and said. 3 Pokémon were single-handedly swiped by Yu, and each was instantly killed. Not only the damage was great, but also the insult was stronger. "Stop it. We grew up together. Why are you suddenly so strong? It doesn't make sense." Xiaomao shouted. Everyone has a similar family background, similar talents, and got Pokémon at about the same time. The last time they met, although there was a gap, it was definitely not big. These days, he has been constantly adventuring outside, while Yu is in school. Why did he lose? Is it possible that the wild is not as good as the greenhouse? Zhi also looked at Yu with curiosity. He also wanted to know why. "We grew up together. Why is the gap so big now?" Yu shrugged. The gap between people has always been the biggest gap. Moreover, he would not tell Xiaomao that his Raichu was actually a quasi-king gatekeeper, the Pokémon version of Cheng Yaojin. He only has 3 tricks. But if you are not the best, you can't beat these 3 tricks. And Xiaomao's 3 tricks are a little bit short. If he breaks through, then Raichu can't stand it. But isn't this not a breakthrough? Is it that your Pokémon school is very outstanding? Xiaomao looked at Yu suspiciously, wondering if he should go there to study. "No, you think too much. Don't think too much. Go there to study. Otherwise I will die if Professor Oak blames me." Yu said. What is the quality of that Pokémon school? Yu still doesn't know it in his mind. Then how did you suddenly become strong? What is your trick? Xiaomao said. Yu looked at Xiaomao and wanted to say that in fact, he didn't have any tricks. He just practiced like this, but Xiaomao would definitely not accept it. After thinking about it, he said solemnly, "Really want to know?" "I want to." Xiaozi and Xiaomao said without thinking. "Okay, you are not outsiders. I won't tell ordinary people about this secret book, but you have no problem. First, get up at 5 in the morning every day, watch the sun rise in the east, absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, get the rising sun in the east, then run with your Pokémon for an hour, then eat a bowl of porridge, and then half an hour later, finally go to bed on time at 9 in the evening." Yu said with a serious face. "Get up at 5, go to bed at 9. No beauty?" Xiaomao took a notebook and wrote. "Is Yu usually so hardworking? Get up at 5, run for an hour, and only eat porridge, not even a fried dough stick, and run for an hour in the evening. Is it because of such hard work that you become strong? Thinking of traveling and soaking in hot springs with girlfriends every day?" Xiaomao was full of shame and cold sweat. Xiaozhi was also very embarrassed and looked at Yu with a little admiration. How could he do it so hard? Only Xiaozu and Liliai had strange expressions and looked at Yu together. Getting up at 5. Go to bed at 9. Who was the one who didn't get up at 8 o'clock today and was awakened by Raichu with a 100,000 volt electric shock? Who was the one who stayed up late to play games with Haunter yesterday? Is that enough? Xiaomai asked. Just barely. Apart from that, it's just constant fighting. How about coming here and being a substitute gym trainer for 2 months? Then, for anyone who wins the gym, all the expenses will be 50% off and will be charged to your account. I believe that this will motivate you. Yu smiled inexplicably. 50% off? Xiaozhi was stunned and shrank his head silently. Sorry to bother you. I haven't even compensated Xiaozhi for her bicycle yet. Okay, that's it. Xiaomao looked determined. I have the money. and I won't lose. What do you mean by that? This is my gym. Boy, even your grandfather wouldn't dare to be so presumptuous in front of me. Xiaobo looked at Xiaomao dissatisfiedly. Who are you? Xiaomao looked at Xiaobo. Huh? In my gym, you're asking who I am? Very good, let's have a fight. If you beat me, I'll let you be the acting gym trainer, and I'll even give you this gym. Xiaobo looked at Xiaomao with a wicked smile on his face. Okay. Xiaomao agreed readily. If I can't beat you, how can I beat you, a gym trainer? The old and the young walked in angrily. Yu watched them leave, and his expression suddenly became extremely rich. Yu, what's wrong? Why do I feel like Mr. Xiaobo seems to be targeting Xiaomao? Lily asked puzzledly. If you meet the grandson of your lifelong enemy, it will be the same. Yu said. Xiaobo and Amu really have all kinds of grievances. The grievances and hatreds with his aunt Kikuko, not counting the love triangle. For example, when Xiaobo participated in the Kanto Quartz conference for the first time, he met Amu in the top 16. Xiaobo, who was already a senior elite trainer at the time, was blocked in the top 16. If he hadn't won the silver tournament in Johto, he wouldn't have been able to participate in the Champions League. With Xiaobo's status, and the fact that it had been so long, he and Professor Oak were just at odds with each other, and he couldn't do anything excessive. But the grandson of his old rival came over, how could he not abuse him? Lifelong enemy. Lily and Xiaoxu's eyes lit up, and their women's intuition told them that there was a story here. They smelled gossip. That's right, but don't ask too much about the elders' affairs. Just remember these, it's better to pack up and leave. Yu said. Oh, going back to school? Lily said. No, go back to Pallet Town to rest. If you want to study, learn directly from Professor Oak, and learn more and more deeply, Yu said. After 2 months of gym battles, Yu was really a little sick of fighting, so he took a proper rest. In addition to Alala, in Yu's mind, Pallet Town is the most suitable place for retirement. Ask Professor Oak some questions along the way. Professor Oak, great. Dr. Kuki admires Dr. Oak the most, and Principal Oak often talks about him. Lily said excitedly. Xiaoxu also looked forward to it. In addition to being a breeder, breeders usually change their jobs to become Pokémon doctors and Pokémon doctors. Many Pokémon doctors are top Pokémon breeders. Dr. Oak is one of the best. He raises thousands of Pokémon by himself. Is it possible without advanced skills? Chapter 71 Leaving Hanglian, Dragonite falls from the sky. Yu, are you going back to Pallet Town? Why don't you go back with us? I've decided to go to Viridian City to fight the 8th gym, and we are going the same way. Xiaozi said. Forget it, it's better for us to go on our own. Yu said without hesitation. Going to Viridian City to fight a gym? Do you really think you're not smart enough? Not to mention the newly born Mutuo who thinks he's invincible. Just say Sasaki, the trainer of the Viridian City gym and the boss of Team Rocket. Can you beat him? And if I go with you, I'll have to be on guard against Kajiro and the other 2 every day. Although those 3 are always more trouble than good when they act as villains, it's troublesome. Yu didn't want to walk on the ground properly, but there was a big pit in front of him. Oh, then let's meet in Pallet Town. I will train hard during this time, and try to catch up with you as soon as possible. Xiaozi was rejected, and said without caring. Well, I believe that. Try to live longer than me, and then duel with me before I die, so that I can't give orders. Yu said, turned around and went back to pack up, and prepared gifts for Professor Oak and Xiaozi's mother Hanako. Xiaoxia, what does Yu mean? Does he look down on me? Xiaozi said. It's obvious. You can't beat him. Xiaoxia said bluntly. Xiaozi lowered his head sadly, and didn't want to talk. It's said to be sorting things, but in fact Yu didn't have much to sort out. After all, when I came here, I didn't bring anything. Later, I decided to stay for a while, so I bought some daily necessities, and 1 or 2 clothes. It was quick to pack up. It was mainly to accompany Lily and Xiaoxu to go shopping. I bought some gifts for Professor Oak and Xiaozi's mother Hanako. After all, it's not good to go empty-handed. It is worth mentioning that Xiaogang returned Xiaoxu's Vulpix to Xiaoxu, and Lily also liked Xiaoxu's Vulpix very much, but she didn't dare to touch it. Time passed, and it was evening. An unexpected scene happened in front of Yu. Xiaobo sat calmly on the chair, and Xiaomao served Xiaobo respectfully like a servant. As for Xiaomao's 6 cheerleaders, they even wore maid outfits. Yu's expression suddenly became complicated, and he looked at Xiaobo with an expression of "You really know how to play. What are you doing? Look, this is my new student, Okimao." Xiaobo looked at Yu and said, "Student?" Yu looked at Xiaomao. "Are you honest?" "Of course, Teacher Xiaobo will be my most beloved teacher in the future," Xiaomao said without hesitation. Yu didn't know what happened when he was out for a day, and he was full of doubts. It was not until the evening that Xiaomao suddenly found Yu and said, "You are not honest, you lied to me. A retired superstar is here, and you didn't tell me. So because he is a retired superstar, you took the initiative to be a student?" Yu said, "Yes, that's the superstar." Xiaomao said as a matter of course. "Xiaomao, there is something I seem to have never asked you. Do you know what Dr. Oki did before he became a doctor?" Yu asked. "It seems to be the principle of darkness under the lamp. People in Pallet Town seem to only know that Professor Oak is a Pokémon doctor, and the rest are not very clear. Some people don't even know much about Professor Oak's authority in the academic world. And Professor Oak also deliberately concealed some of his past, or he didn't care about those things at all. Now many young trainers are striving for things that famous trainers are proud of, but they are nothing to Professor Oak. Naturally, he won't mention them on purpose. So, did Xiaomao never know about his grandfather before he became a doctor? As for trainers, we are all in the family," Xiaomao said. "Then do you know what achievements Professor Oak has made as a trainer?" Yu asked. "I don't know, but it shouldn't be too great. If it was too great, my grandfather wouldn't be a Pokémon doctor," Xiaomao said as a matter of course. Yu looked up at the sky at a 45-degree angle. Sure enough, it was exactly the same as I guessed. "Do you want to tell you? In fact, your grandfather is a hidden boss. The teacher you are worshipping now accepted you as a student because he was abused by your grandfather. Show off to your grandfather, saying that you can't even teach your grandson well, so you want him to teach you. What's wrong? You look so weird," Xiaomao said. "Nothing, I'm going back to Pallet Town. Do you want me to bring anything to Professor Oak?" Yu said, "Forget it, it's better not to tell you. Wait until you know, then tell me." "No, just tell Grandpa that I will study hard here and then strengthen myself and win the championship of this quartz conference," Xiaomao said proudly. Yu nodded, "As long as you are happy. In addition, where do you get the confidence of you pallet rookies? Is it because you haven't experienced enough social beatings? In addition, actually I wanted to say just now that your initial Pokémon is not Charmander, but Water Squirtle. So you don't worship Connor, the Ice King and Water Master, but worship a retired Fire King. You are also excellent." A day passed, and the welfare of Crimson Island remained the same, but the acting gym trainer was replaced by someone else. Yu was also leaving this place, where he had stayed for 2 months. Before leaving, he walked to Xiaobo and bowed to thank him. "Thank you, teacher." "Hey, you little bastard, what are you crazy about? I just accepted Xiaomao as my cheap student and asked him to work for me. I didn't accept you, so why do you call me teacher?" Xiaobo said with a crazy expression. "The teacher didn't accept me, but the teacher really taught me. I know all this." Yu said that the 2 months of fighting as a gym trainer was very rewarding for him. Although Xiaobo seemed to be unhappy with him, he did help him a lot. "What do you know? Don't be self-indulgent," Xiaobo said. "Anyway, I will recognize you as my teacher first. Whether you recognize me or not is your business. I'm leaving first. I'll come to see you again during the holidays." Yu said and left. Looking at Yu's leaving back, Xiaobo raised his eyebrows slightly. "Little bastard, what do you mean you should recognize me first? In this day and age, can you force someone to recognize a teacher?" After being angry for a long time, she finally laughed out loud. "Brat, work hard. If you can't win the championship, I'll whip you." Carrying the luggage, Yu led Xiaoxu and Lilia to the dock. "Yu, Sister Xiaoxu, can we go to Pallet Town slowly? I want to visit Kanto by the way. I haven't visited it completely yet," Lilia suddenly said when she got on the boat. Yesterday, Lusamine called and told her that the Alola school had been repaired and she could go back. So she might not have much time in Kanto. I can do anything. Xiaoxu looked at Yu. She was Yu's personal Pokémon breeder. Wherever Yu went, she would go. No problem. You've worked hard for the past 2 months. You decide everything. Yu said. He didn't care. After all, returning to Pallet Town was mainly to relax his fighting mood for the past 2 months. It was also good to go back to Pallet Town slowly and relax. Thank you, Yu. Lilia said happily. Yu smiled slightly and took his own cruise ship with 2 beauties to start his trip to Kanto. He saw famous mountains and rivers and unique scenery. He also went to Maiden Gorge. It was a pity that it was not a summer festival and there was no talking ghastly. Everything was natural and harmonious, but it took a little longer and he didn't reach Pallet Town for several months. Until one day, when Yu and the other 2 were camping in the wild, a Dragonite came down from the sky with a bag on its back and politely handed a letter to Yu, inviting him to visit. Chapter 72 Defeat Dragonite. Dragonite? Xiaoxu stared at the sudden appearance of Dragonite, stunned. The guardian god of Kanto, the legendary Pokémon with a fickle temper. Most of the time, it is docile and will rescue people or Pokémon in distress at sea. A few times, its reverse scales stand up, and it becomes the god of destruction of Johto, possessing terrifying power that makes people shudder. It is an extremely rare Pokémon. Xiaoxu has never seen a living one in her entire life, except for photos and movies. And it just appeared before her eyes. And it turned out to be a postman. Who is so generous. Even the Dragon King Do, the leader of the 4 heavenly kings of Kanto, is not so generous. Dragonite ignored Xiaoxu, took out an envelope from the bag, and handed it to Yu. Yu reached out and took it, and saw a CD and a postcard inside. Yu took out the CD, and the CD automatically played the image. A lady wearing thick housekeeper clothes appeared and saluted politely. I'm very presumptuous to send this letter to you. Please forgive me. Since you are the most promising trainer, we invite you to join our master, the strongest Pokémon trainer gathering. The location is the New Island Pokémon City. Please fill in the postcard back to the city and decide whether to come or not. This is an invitation from the strongest Pokémon trainer. Please be sure to accept it. After saying this, the image disappeared again. Yu nodded. It was indeed you, Mewtwo. In the world, you are the only one who is so extravagant as to use Dragonite as a postman. Others use Pidgeot. At this time, it should be that he has just broken free from the control of Team Rocket, and his psychological cognition is not complete. He wants to have a party, defeat all trainers, and prove that humans are dirty creatures, and are not worthy of ruling the world, and Pokémon that listen to humans are not worthy either. Only new Pokémon cloned by it are worthy. It is an abnormal brain state. Let Dragonite be a postman. He must be a very powerful trainer. Yu, should we go? Lily looked at Yu and said. No. Yu threw the postcard away. Seeing Yu's reaction, Dragonite cried out, then flapped its wings, and prepared to leave. But before it could fly, it felt a terrifying force added to its body, and was forcibly pulled down. Dragonite stared at Yu with big eyes. Is it you, a human, who is controlling me? How is the salary as a postman? Why don't you consider switching jobs and working for me? Yu said with a smile at Dragonite. The owner of this Dragonite is Mewtwo. In other words, it has no trainer. In other words, it can be subdued. Yu is a person who has a clear understanding of himself. He has no time to be like some Pokémon fanfiction protagonists who are still walking on the ground but want to go to the sky. They don't have much strength, but they think about subduing Mewtwo. They don't even think about Mewtwo's level. Is it easy to subdue? Not to mention whether Mewtwo will believe in humans. So, he will definitely not go to the new island. However, if Mewtwo is not subdued, can't the Dragonite in front of him be subdued? Quasi-god of Kanto, the first in the Pokémon speed rankings, can fly to the sky, can go into the water, and if he learns to dig a hole, he can also go into the ground. He is all powerful. He is also the favorite in Yu's heart. In addition, Yu does not have a flying Pokémon, so he has his eyes on this Dragonite. Raw Dragonite shouted at Yu in dissatisfaction, as if he was very dissatisfied with Yu's words. Yu, this is someone else's Pokémon. It is illegal to rob someone else's Pokémon. Xiaoxu shouted. Yes, it is too much to rob someone else's Pokémon, but the premise is that it is a human. Yu was about to explain, but before he could explain it completely, Dragonite on the side couldn't help it. This human actually wanted to subdue him. It was a serious sin. He was the master. He opened his mouth and a terrifying destructive death light attacked Yu and the other two. Yu immediately stretched out his hand, and an energy barrier appeared in front of the three of them, barely blocking the destructive death light. It's powerful enough, worthy of being chosen by Mewtwo as a postman. Yu slapped away Dragonite's destruction ray with one hand, and looked at Dragonite. There was a hint of confusion in Dragonite's eyes, as if he couldn't understand why this human could block his attack, but it was soon replaced by anger and he launched a crazy attack on Yu. Yu fought with Dragonite calmly. These days, he didn't exercise much, and mainly trained Pokémon, but his strength increased rapidly. Maybe Giratina favored him. Ordinary Quasi Kings were no longer his opponents. Facing Dragonite's attack, he was calm and casual, and even made comments from time to time. The power of the Flaming Fist is very good. It would be better if the Dragon Claw was sharper. The power of the Destruction Ray is enough, but the accuracy is not very good. Wait, I said so much, but your response is so simple. Are you hypnotized? Yu suddenly looked at Dragonite and said, Psychic System, the most terrifying attribute, no one. In addition to the fact that superpowers are everywhere and invisible and intangible, unlike water and fire, which are tangible, the most troublesome thing is the ability to control by hypnosis. Another member of Team Rocket, Yamato Kasaburo, used an ordinary Cyclops and a machine to control 60 or 70 Pokémon on the entire island, including Pikachu, Tajipi, and Meowth. In the Carlos movie, Hooper, who was released, was even more powerful, and he controlled Dialga, Palkia, Giratina, Primal Groudon, Primal Kyogre, and Kyurem, 6 first-level gods. He almost rubbed the dignity of the first-level gods on the ground. Although Mewtwo is also a first-level beast, although it is not so powerful, it is still like playing to control some Pokémon by hypnosis. Dragonite ignored Yu and just fought. It seems that you are hypnotized, so I won't hold back. I will wake you up first, and then chat with you. Yu's face slightly straightened, and a cold and terrifying power burst out from him, and a huge shadow ball condensed in his hands. Dragonite's eyes widened. Although he was unconscious, he instinctively felt a terrifying danger. Before he could escape, the terrifying shadow ball fell from the sky and hit Dragonite heavily. Dragonite could not bear it, and fell to the ground with a bang. Thousands of miles away from where Yu was, there was an isolated island, hanging alone in the sea. This was a place rarely visited by people, but there was a magnificent castle here. In the castle, a humanoid Pokémon with a pink body suddenly opened his eyes, revealing a terrifying murderous aura. Who interrupted my hypnotic control? Is there any creature on this planet that can interrupt my control? The humanoid Pokémon stood up suddenly, exuding powerful superpowers, and then suddenly changed, and his body instantly disappeared from the spot. Chapter 73 Mewtwo Attacks. You said that this Dragonite is controlled by a Pokémon. Is there such a powerful Pokémon? Xiaoxu looked at Yu in disbelief. It is generally recognized by the academic circles and trainers in Kanto that there are no bad Pokémon, only bad Pokémon trainers. This point has been put into practice in various places. But after hearing what Yu said, there are Pokémon that can control themselves. Yes, that Pokémon can almost be said to be the strongest Pokémon in Kanto. Yu said. So powerful, what kind of Pokémon is it? Xiaoxu looked curious, her eyes full of curiosity, and for the first time she was glad that she was with Yu. Mewtwo, an artificial Pokémon created by Team Rocket. Yu told Xiaoxu and Lily what he knew about Mewtwo. Team Rocket can create such a powerful Pokémon? I always thought they were just playing small tricks. Stealing business in the beauty street. Xiaoxu said in disbelief. Although the three are also members of Team Rocket, you can't treat them as ordinary. Yu said. Then what exactly is Team Rocket? Lily also asked curiously. You can simply understand it as an organization that does all kinds of evil and does whatever it wants. It does everything that can make money in the criminal law. Yu said. Team Rocket has a complex composition. Yu didn't know about it until he became an adult from his great-aunt Kiku. To explain it, it has to be traced back to when the alliance was just established. A group of people needed someone to do dirty things, so they cooperated to form an organization. For the sake of overall stability, the alliance turned a blind eye. This was the predecessor of Team Rocket. Then it continued to develop and became more and more out of control, until Sasaki showed up and messed up. Now it's a bit of a mess. Of course, these are the simplest ones. The deeper ones are not what you can know now. So evil? Lilia was surprised. She had only seen Team Rocket with Musashi, Kichiro, and Meowth. She thought Team Rocket was nothing special. She didn't expect it to be such an organization. Well, so you are happy living in Alala? Yu said. Compared with the underground organizations in other regions, the villain organization Skull Team in Alala is just a joke. There is no organization, no discipline, and no salary. To put it nicely, it is called an underground organization, but to put it bluntly, it is actually a group of hooligans. By the way, Yu, the most powerful Pokémon in Kanto is Mewtwo, so which is the strongest Pokémon in our Alala? Compared with Mewtwo, which one is stronger? Lily asked curiously. Necrozma. As for which one is stronger than Mewtwo, your Necrozma in Alala is stronger. Yu said. After all, Mewtwo is a Pokémon of this world, below Arceus, and Necrozma is a god in another world, theoretically at the same level as Arceus. Necrozma? What kind of Pokémon is that? Why haven't I heard of it? Lily asked curiously. Because he is still sleeping, you can ask your mother for details. She should know. Yu said. But if it's so powerful, you have robbed Mewtwo's Pokémon now, won't it come out to attack you? Ziozu said worriedly. Kanto's strongest Pokémon also hates humans. Now Yu has robbed its Pokémon. This is courting death. No, it's hiding in the new island now. It won't come out, otherwise it will be captured by Team Rocket again. Yu vowed. How could he do something he was not sure of? Mewtwo is very strong. But Team Rocket is not simple either. Its business covers the Orange Islands in Chengdu, Kanto, and it is even fighting against Team Plasma in Unova. Although Mewtwo is powerful, Yu still thinks Team Rocket will win if they really fight against Team Rocket. After all, it is humans who rule this world. Don't really think that humans are vulnerable in front of Pokémon. If they are, the alliance will not exist. A group of ants are worthy of catching me? As soon as Yu finished speaking, a cold voice rang out. Yu's face suddenly changed, and he stood up quickly. He felt a strong superpower wave coming. A pink human Pokémon appeared in front of him, and the terrifying superpower surged like a vast ocean. Yu quickly burst out his ghost power, and tried to resist. But the barrier that had just been formed was defeated by Mewtwo's Mew power in an instant, and Yu fell heavily to the ground. Dirty human, you are the one who solved my hypnosis of Dragonite? Mewtwo floated in the air with an indifferent face, with strong superpower surging, his upper and lower mouths not moving. Telepathy, natural communication. Is this Mewtwo? Xiaoxu looked at Mewtwo in shock. What Yu said was right, it was really strong. He moved over instantly, and then defeated Yu who could easily defeat Dragonite with one move. That's right, Mewtwo. Yu gritted his teeth, stood up, looked at Mewtwo and said, you actually came out. This guy, isn't he afraid of being found by Team Rocket? A group of humble beings. What are they? Are they qualified to arrest me? Mewtwo seemed to see through Yu's thoughts, and looked at Yu with disdain. I'm the most powerful being in the world. This was decided from the moment I was born. No creature can be stronger than me. I just don't want to kill people. How can a group of humans be qualified to arrest me? Yu opened his mouth, and found that he had forgotten something. Mewtwo, who had just been born, knew very little about this world. All he knew was what Team Rocket told him. The final result was that Mewtwo not only had problems with self-cognition, and felt that he should not appear in this world, but was also infinitely arrogant. It didn't want to meet Team Rocket, and didn't want to be disturbed, but it was not afraid of Team Rocket. So, how can I survive? If I confronted them head on, I would definitely lose. If I drew lots to call for help, the family's distant water could not put out the nearby fire, and it might not be able to win. Giratina, only it took the initiative to contact me. I couldn't take the initiative to contact him. Moreover, I was Giratina's younger brother. If I got into trouble, I would look for it. If I did it too much, it would easily get into trouble. Furthermore, Giratina had just changed its own and Haunter's physiques, and lost a lot of strength. It might be at a disadvantage to fight against Mewtwo in its perfect form, or run away, or use the protagonist's ultimate move, Mouth Cannon. Just now Mewtwo said that it didn't want to kill anyone. Thinking of this, Yu calmed down and shouted at Mewtwo righteously, "How can you hypnotize Dragonite? As a Pokémon, don't you know what it feels like for a Pokémon to be controlled by someone? Do not do to others what you do not want others to do to you. You must apologize to Dragonite. You can't be timid, or you will be finished. First yell at Mewtwo, then talk to it." Now Mewtwo is struggling with the meaning of its own life. It feels that as a clone, it has no father or mother, and should not appear in this world. Then it goes to a dead end and seeks the meaning of its own life. If such a Pokémon is willing to talk to you, that is the best time to use Mouth Cannon. Seeing Yu suddenly roaring, Xiaoxu and Lily were startled. Mewtwo was stunned and looked unbelievable. This dirty man, he actually dared to yell at me? Dirty human. Mewtwo's eyes glowed green after he reacted. His terrifying superpowers burst out instantly, like a surging river pressing towards Yu. The terrifying power could almost make Yu disappear from this world. Yu's face changed drastically, and he quickly used his ghost power, but he still felt a huge pressure and could hardly breathe. He said with difficulty, "Am I wrong? Isn't it? Do you want to be someone else's puppet? I won't control it forever. It's just temporary, and you trainers will enslave them forever." Mewtwo looked at Yu and said. Yu breathed a sigh of relief. Arguing with him means that you can argue. Chapter 74 Giratina, who dares to touch my people? Who said that? My Pokémon and I are all friends. I'm both a father and a mother. I train their skills, cultivate their interests and hobbies, earn money to buy them mobile phones and training resources, stay up late every night to write training plans, and even top up their game accounts and make movies for them. How can being a trainer be considered slavery? I want to switch back. Yu shouted at Mewtwo. Originally, he wanted to just talk nonsense, but the more he talked, the more emotional and sad he became. His true feelings were revealed. If he had a choice, he thought being a Pokémon would be great. That's just for your own selfish reasons. You want to use them. Mewtwo said. This is love growing together. Make progress together. If one day they want to leave me, I won't stop them. Moreover, human lifespan is limited. Among my Pokémon, Haunter and Stottle have lifespans of at least 1,000 years. I just accompany them for a period of time, but you are different. You enslave them, based on your mood, for a lifetime. Yu said. Nonsense. Mewtwo's superpowers surged more and more. Dirty human, don't try to deceive me. Just like my Dragonite, you broke my control. Didn't you just want to forcefully capture my Pokémon? What's ugly about that? It's normal for a trainer to capture Pokémon. And compared to Yu's fair capture, isn't your hypnotic control ugly? Is Dragonite willing to be controlled by you? Yu at least gave him a chance. Wait until he wakes up, and then beat him. What about you? You say ugly words. It's the same. Lily couldn't help but speak out. You said I'm ugly? Mewtwo's eyes flashed with angry green light, and the terrifying superpowers completely erupted, attacking Lily non-stop. Yu's face changed drastically, and he quickly grabbed Lily and Xiaoxu, one in each hand, and flew into the sky. This guy doesn't play by the rules, and he can't win the argument, so he takes action. I haven't even started to fool you. Yu tried hard to fly to the lake on the side. As long as he enters the lake, he can enter the reverse world. He swore that he would camp by the lake in the future. Let's go. Mewtwo's eyes flashed green, and his superpowers burst out. He instantly controlled Yu, Lily, and Xiaoxu, and threw them heavily to the ground. Yu's face suddenly changed. He didn't care about anything else. He hugged Lily and Zyaksu tightly, using his body as a meat cushion, and he could resist as much as he could. The Pokeball on Yu's waist flashed, and 5 red lights flew out quickly. Haunter, Absol, Raichu, Squirtle, and Flamahorse sensed the danger outside the Pokeball and automatically came out to guard their trainer. Haunter condensed Shadow Ball, Absol condensed Evil Wave, Raichu used Thunder, Squirtle used Rocket Head Hammer, and Flamahorse used Flame Vortex. 5 powerful attacks were launched at Mewtwo at once. Mewtwo still had contempt on his face and waved his hand again, forming an invisible solid barrier in front of him, blocking 5 attacks in one breath, and then waved his hand and bounced them all back. Shadow Ball hit Haunter, Evil Wave hit Absol, Thunder hit Raichu, Squirtle crashed into the ground, and Blaze was wrapped in a vortex of flames. In an instant, Haunter, Raichu, Squirtle, and Absol all fell to the ground unconscious, losing their ability to fight. Only Blaze relied on its characteristics to hold on, leaping up and taking on Yu and the other two. Seeing that Blaze actually saved Yu and the other two, Mewtwo said disdainfully, "Stupid Pokémon, meaningless friendship." With a raised hand, a wave missile condensed and hit Yu and the other two. Yu's face changed suddenly. The wave missile knocked the opponent with a wave guide. If the user's wave guide was strong enough, it would hit the opponent. And Mewtwo's strength was obviously strong enough. Blaze couldn't bear it. At the critical moment, Yu threw Zyaksu and Lily into the lake, opened the door to the reverse world, and then stood in front of Blaze to face Mewtwo's wave missile. The energy barrier was formed in an instant, but it also collapsed in an instant. Yu looked at the wave missiles that were getting closer and closer, unable to resist, and had only one thought in his heart. Giratina, help me. I'll do Arceus wall jump for you again. Yu prayed, but it seemed to have no effect. The wave missile still hit Yu and hit him, and the energy exploded. But it just went through and hit the grass behind, blowing up a big hole. Yu was safe and sound. Yu blinked, a little dazed, not knowing what happened. Then, a huge black hole formed in the lake in the distance, and a terrifying black shadow flew out of it, carrying Lily and Zyaksu. Giratina. Seeing Giratina appear, Yu shouted in joy. "Little Yi, you were thinking about doing Arceus wall jump for me just now, right?" Giratina said the first sentence as soon as he came out. Yu was stunned. "How can you know what I was thinking? Then, you only sensed Arceus wall jump? Really?" Giratina asked again. "Yes, that's right," Yu said without hesitation. "Okay, let's do it later. Let's deal with this guy first. Little Yi, this guy is bullying you, right?" Giratina said. "Yeah. It wants to kill me." Yu nodded. "Oh." Giratina nodded, looked at Mewtwo again, and then his figure disappeared in an instant, turning into a black shadow, and reappeared on Mewtwo, knocking Mewtwo away with one claw, hitting the ground hard, smashing a deep pit. "Bullying Little Yi? Who gave you the courage? You dare to touch my people? Who are you?" Every time Giratina said a word, the ghost power emanating from his body became stronger. At the end of his words, he forcibly changed from the normal form to the original form. With a roar, the terrifying ghost energy vibrated everywhere, and the space in the entire Kanto region showed strange changes. The Alliance laboratory immediately shook and issued an emergency alarm. The top leaders of the Alliance gathered together to investigate the cause of the change immediately. At the Rocket Team headquarters, Sasaki noticed the strange changes and immediately put down the cat boss in his hand and went to the laboratory. Similar to Mewtwo's superpowers, there are also strange space reversals. Did Mewtwo get new power during the time he was away? The entire Kanto power was shaken, and Mewtwo, who was beaten into a pit, was also furious in an instant, and his body burst out with superpowers that could destroy the world. There was actually a Pokémon that beat him. With sharp eyes, he flew out all of a sudden, and endless superpowers were used. It rained heavily in the sky, thunder shook, lakes on the ground surged, and many air began to condense and explode with great power. Giratina didn't care and rushed over in one breath. The ghost energy kept changing. Shadow Sneak, Shadow Claw, and various ghost skills were used to attack Mewtwo strongly. There was the power of Dream on his body, as if it was created by Dream. But, so what? Even if dream came, it's not okay to touch my little brother. My little brother, when will it be your turn to move? Giratina roared. The power of the reversed world rioted and used ghost energy to suppress Muto. Muto naturally refused to be outdone. Since its birth, it had never suffered such an injustice. Although its attributes were restrained, it would never admit defeat. The two Pokémon fought fiercely, without any scruples, and the psychic and ghost attributes burst out, using all kinds of special moves, flying from east to west, and from west to east, causing the whole of Kanto to shake. Chapter 75, Autistic Muto. Yu, is this your Pokémon? In the reverse space, Zyrozu looked at the scene outside in disbelief. This is too strong. Is this still a Pokémon? No, I'm its person. I'm its younger brother. Yu said. The order of priority should be made clear. Otherwise, Giratina will beat him. You are his younger brother? Zyrozu was surprised. This was the first time she knew that someone was a younger brother of a Pokémon. But soon, she reacted and said, that's also very powerful. After all, such a Pokémon can no longer be simply called a Pokémon. Looking at the amazing battle performance outside, Zyrozu's heart surged. She wanted to learn more about Giratina from Yu, but found that Yu had a solemn expression on his face. She couldn't help but wonder, Yu, what's wrong? Giratina is stronger than Muto. It's basically suppressing us. We should be safe. Why are you still so worried? It's too early to rest assured now. I don't know how long Giratina can last. Yu said with a solemn expression. If Giratina was in its prime, he wouldn't be worried, but Giratina and Platinum Jade Spirit lost some of their power when they transformed him and Haunter, so this kind of explosion can't last long. And with such a big noise, Team Rocket and the League will definitely notice it. Not to mention Team Rocket, some people in the League are not necessarily much better. If Giratina and Muto lose too much power, that group of people will definitely not just stand there and watch. There are more troubles. Giratina is now constantly drawing on the power of the reverse world. Doing so will certainly enhance Giratina's strength, but it will also affect the real space. Then it will definitely wake up Palkia, who is in charge of space. In Palkia's eyes, such behavior is equivalent to actively invading the territory. No powerful creature will allow other creatures to invade its territory. So once Palkia wakes up, he will fight Giratina to the death. At that time, it will not be a one-on-one duel, but 2 against 1. Giratina will definitely not be able to win now. The situation must be changed. Yu looked at Giratina and Muto who were fighting like crazy. Suddenly, he saw Giratina knock Muto into a lake. His eyes lit up immediately. He suddenly opened the door of the reverse world in a lake and forcibly absorbed the falling Muto. Muto felt the change and his body suddenly reacted. His supernatural power flashed, and he was ready to teleport away. But before he succeeded, Giratina suddenly rushed over. Although he had not communicated with Yu in advance, he certainly would not let go of this opportunity, and knocked Muto into the reverse world in one breath. Muto was unable to resist, and was knocked in. Looking at the new world, he was at a loss. He looked around vigilantly, and found Yu on the side and said, "Where is this? My world?" Yu did not reply. Then Giratina, who entered the reverse world, replied. The ghost energy rioted, and all kinds of ghost type special moves were overwhelming and hit Muto. Muto was completely stunned before he could figure out the situation. At this point, Yu breathed a sigh of relief. Entering the reverse world should be safe. Neither the League nor the Rockets can come in for the time being. If Giratina leaves the real world, Palkia will not wake up. Even if he wakes up, he still can't come in. Moreover, this is Giratina's home court. Even Dialga dares not fight Giratina here. He can only give Giratina the effect of time reversal, so that it can never leave the reverse world and escape from the reverse world. Muto may still win outside, but here, it is impossible. Muto is furious, and all kinds of superpowers and tricks burst out, but the superpower attribute meets the ghost attribute, which is a few points worse, not to mention that this is Giratina's home court. It's just that the feeling of being suppressed like this makes Muto feel a little happy inexplicably. It turns out that I'm not the strongest alone, and there are Pokémon who are almost the same as me. The war broke out, and lasted for a long time. The battle was fierce, and it was indescribable. The only pity was that there were only a few spectators including Yu. In the end, the result was not as expected by Yu, and Mewtwo was defeated and lay on a flat ground, gasping for breath. Who are you? Why are you so powerful? Am I not the strongest Pokémon in the world? Mewtwo looked at Giratina and said, of course you are not. The strongest Pokémon in the world is me. Giratina said proudly. Yu, who was about to come over to congratulate Giratina on his victory, heard this and his expression suddenly became rich. Boss, are you really so proud? Do you think that Arceus is sleeping and you can just ignore him? When he wakes up, even if his original power is not complete, he can beat you, Dialga, and Palkia alone. You are the strongest? Mewtwo looked at Giratina and fell into self-doubt. Those humans are lying to me. Sure enough, humans are all dirty. Then who created you? Are you also a human? Mewtwo said, what are you talking about? Humans are my little brothers. Look at that, that's my messenger. Giratina pointed at Yu proudly and said, humans are messengers of Pokémon? Mewtwo looked at Yu. Yes, I said that humans and Pokémon can be friends. Yu said. Mewtwo narrowed his eyes. This human being was a subordinate of Pokémon and then went to collect Pokémon. In this way, Pokémon was still supreme. It was not too dirty. Did I blame him wrongly? Tell me how you made it. You have the breath of fantasy, but it is much stronger than ordinary fantasy. Are you the latest fantasy? Giratina looked at Mewtwo strangely. Although he won, the process was also very difficult. If it weren't for the favorable attributes and the fact that this Pokémon had little impact on the world, it would have almost overturned. I should know all the Pokémon that can reach this level. Why haven't I seen him? You are the one who was made by fantasy. When Mewtwo heard this, he roared loudly. The superpower that had obviously been exhausted inexplicably emerged again. Giratina looked down and swept it, and then a shadow ball hit Mewtwo. What are you shouting? Who spoiled your bad temper? What are you yelling about? Can you beat me? Let me explain. Mewtwo is an accidental work made by humans using fantasy eyelashes. Yu said. When Mewtwo heard Yu tell him about its origin, a hint of ferocity flashed in his eyes. Made by humans? Or just one eyelash? Giratina was surprised. Has your technology reached this point? This Mewtwo, although not as good as him, is also very strong. It can be considered an opponent. And it feels that this Mewtwo should be born no more than 10 years ago, or even shorter, but it has existed for who knows how many years. And such creatures are made by humans. Yes, this is also where humans are clearly much better than Pokémon, with terrifying creativity and destructive power, collective scale, and civilization inheritance. Yu said. That has nothing to do with you. Giratina looked at Yu and said, your brain is not very useful either. Yu's face twitched. In front of outsiders, you are talking to me like this. Are you going to lose my rhythm? Do you still want to eat Arceus jumping over the wall? So creatures like humans should not exist, let alone rule this world. Mewtwo interrupted. You said before that you didn't want to kill anyone. Don't change your position so quickly. Yu sat down and said. With Giratina around, he was stable and ready to use his mouth cannon skills again. Anyway, with Giratina around, Mewtwo couldn't kill him. As long as he wasn't killed, Yu was fearless. Mewtwo was now at the most immature age in his life. After a few words from Sasaki, he was fooled into playing a long gym match and helped the Rocket team catch Pokémon. In short, humans shouldn't be allowed to rule the world. Mewtwo said. So use Pokémon? Yu said. No, ordinary Pokémon won't work either. They are used to the orders of the trainer and listen to the trainer's words. Mewtwo said. So you plan to clone? Yu said. How do you know? Mewtwo looked at Yu with an expression of seeing a ghost. How do you, a human, know so much? Because I'm Giratina's little brother. Yu said. Giratina, who was a little confused, was immediately happy when he heard this. He was right. He is worthy of being my little brother. HMPH. This world should be ruled by Pokémon. Brand new Pokémon. Pokémon that don't listen to human orders. Mewtwo said. This is impossible. This world is ruled by humans on the surface, not without reason. Human civilization can be passed down continuously, and everyone can stand on the shoulders of giants. After a period of learning, a teenager can fly a plane into the sky, and you Pokémon can only inherit a few skills at most, but whether it is powerful or not, it still needs the Pokémon to practice themselves. Yu said. How strong can technology be? And I will lead them to rule. Mewtwo said. Technology can create you. Do you think it is strong? And you lead them to rule. Let me ask you a question first. You are dissatisfied with being created by humans, without a father or a mother, and don't know the value of your own survival. And you are dissatisfied with Team Rocket controlling you, but you create cloned Pokémon, and then command them. What is the difference between you and Team Rocket? Yu said. Of course it's different. How can I be the same as them? Mewtwo said excitedly. Then what's the difference? Yu said. What's the difference? Mewtwo doubted himself. They created me. I created cloned Pokémon. They want to use me to rule the world. I'm going to rule the world with these Pokémon. It seems that there is no difference. Am I also dirty? Mewtwo fell into the biggest self-doubt of its life. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.